Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Hey, what's up, Luke?
Good. This has been a long time in the making.
Well, I need to thank you for taking care of my family when they came to see your show.
I hope they had a great time.
They had a fucking fantastic time. But it was also, my daughter was like freaked out because she was going to the show. She didn't know she was going to get to meet you. And her friend didn't know they were going to get to meet you either.
So we were able to keep that a good little secret to them.
Yeah,
so.
It was cool. They had the best time. They came back beaming. So thank you.
Well, Vegas, that was wrapping up Vegas. So that was a fun 2 years of residency there.
Did you do 2 years there?
I did. Yeah, I did 2 years, 26 shows per year. Dude, man, like
Vegas will take a little piece of your soul.
Well,
just a little tiny piece every day.
The thing about it is, like, all of that get to Vegas and, like, you run to the craps table or blackjack table your whole life getting to Vegas. Dude, I got all that. I get to Vegas, I'm like, man, let's just sit in the room, watch little sports, and I got the gambling out of the system.
Well, that's good. Did you used to gamble a lot?
I've never been a sports gambler. My dad raised me to kind of be a poker player kind of kid. He was I used to joke, if my dad didn't play poker, we'd have never had Santa Claus. He was just a crazy little poker player and like a little pool hustler, so
he was all in.
One of my dad's famous quotes is, so he flies me out to Vegas when I'm 21 or whatever, and man, we were in college, and I took like $300 or $400 with me, just broke as shit, and 2 hours into the trip, lose my money, and this was like, where we still had truck phones. I'm not even sure we were like toting. No, we certainly didn't have like the Motorola Razr where he could just call me. So he just goes looking for him, and he calls my hotel room, and he's like, "Boy, what you doing?" He's real southern Georgia. I said, "I done lost all my damn money, and hell with this place." He goes, "Well, you ain't gonna win it back in the goddamn room." So, once you have that mindset in gambling, certainly, when that's your dad going, and so that's been a famous saying when my buddies, when they're down and out, down $2 to $3 grand, and they're pouting over at the bar, you're not gonna win it back at the goddamn bar. So, but I went through phases where, I never really got financially behind when I didn't have money. I would just, I controlled it pretty well. And I did my 2 years out there. I never really had any big beats or anything like that. But I do love to just sit there, have a drink, have a cigar, and watch dice and cards, because you're just sitting there and your mind's checked out.
Right.
It's like no different than going to the driving range and hitting golf balls, or sitting on the bank fishing, or sitting in a deer stand. So
right.
But I got out of there. I got all my gambling, at least for now, out of my system. But it was great to meet your kids there, and
I really appreciate it. They really enjoyed it, and like I said, they were blown away meeting you. They're like,
well, it was a fun show because we got to really do a lot of bells and whistles out there that aren't available on normal shows when you're, out touring and stuff, because you're having to take down stuff, be real mobile out there. We put a lot of stuff in the room, and
that's nice. That's one good thing about the residency. You're going back to the same spot over and over and over again.
And we had our routine. I had my room, and about 6:30, I'd hop in the shower, run down there, and get on stage about 8:30 and knock it out, and 10:30 somewhere at a craps table.
I'm lucky I don't gamble. I don't do it.
You never
If
got into sports?
Nope. I used to bet on fights. Back in the early days of the UFC, I used to bet on fights, and one day they made it illegal, but I already stopped doing it because I was like, this is probably not a good thing for me to be betting on things I'm commentating on because I can't affect the outcome.
Right.
But
it's
sometimes
still quite close.
I also sometimes know some shit. This has been a bunch of times. So one of my business partners, I would tell him what to bet on, and we were at like 84% at one time. It was crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
For like 6 or 7 fights in a row, 6 or 7 fight cards in a row, we were at about 84%. Because every now and then they would have these guys that were coming in from Japan or from Russia. And the odds makers didn't know who these guys were, and I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" Bet the house. Yeah,
you already.
I knew those
studying
guys.
them for
years. So I knew everything about these guys. I'm like, Jesus Christ, bet the fucking house.
Layup.
Yeah, there was a few. Like when Anderson Silva came into the UFC, I was like, bet the house on the Brazilian. Whatever you got, I go throw it all at this guy. You can't fucking lose. Because when he came into the UFC, he was like in his prime. And I got to see him evolve in Japan and then later on in England. And so when he came in the UFC, I think he was a favorite over this guy, Chris Lieben, who's a really tough guy. But I'm like, whatever the odds are, fucking throw it all at that guy.
I bet y'all. Were you betting with him too
no,
at that time?
I wasn't betting. I'd already stopped.
Yeah.
I was like, I could get in trouble.
Don't get any trouble now either. Don't lose the gig.
Well, now the UFC made a law, and it was real recent, like 2 years ago. Up until like 2 years ago, all staff, anyone could bet. Now no one can bet.
Really?
Yeah, because there was a scandal. One of the trainers apparently was involved, allegedly knew about an injury, and then it turned out there's probably some other bets that are a little shady that perhaps allegedly people were involved with. So they're like, okay, we got to put a stop to this, which is too bad because it was fucking. It's nice to know. If I was unscrupulous. This episode is brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Dogs are amazing. They're loyal. They're lovable. Like, just having Marshall around can make my day 10 times better. And I'm sure you love your dog just as much, and you want to do your best to help them live longer, healthier, happier lives. And a healthy life for your dog starts with healthy food, just like it does for us. There's a reason having a balanced diet is so important. So how do you know if your dog's food is as healthy and as safe as it can be? Well, Farmer's Dog gives you that peace of mind by making fresh, real food developed by board-certified nutritionists to provide all the nutrients your dog needs. And their food is human grade, which means it's made to the same quality and safety standards as human food. Very few pet foods are made to this strict standard. And let's be clear, human grade food doesn't mean the food is fancy. It just means it's safe and healthy. It's simple, real food from people who care about what goes into your dog's body. The Farmer's Dog makes it easy to help your dog live a long, healthy life by sending you fresh food that's pre-portioned just for your dog's needs. Because every dog is different. And I'm not just talking about breeds. From their size to their personality to their health, every dog is unique. Plus, precise portions can help keep your dog at an ideal weight, which is one of the proven predictors of a long life. Look, no one, dog or human, should be eating highly processed foods for every meal. It doesn't matter how old your dog is. It's always a great time to start investing in their health and happiness. So, try the Farmer's Dog today. You can get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more. Offer applicable for new customers only.
I had I went my whole life, no sports betting. Through college, through college, I'd walk in and my buddies back then, they'd spliced 8 TVs together and they got all their notes. And I'm like, dude, no wonder you got all D's and you're about to get shipped out of college. But I survived all that, and me and a buddy, we started picking 2 games a week, and we would load up. And this was like 6 years ago, 5 years ago. So I would load up like $20,000 a game. Ooh. But I was strict, and I had my deal, And yeah, it just we like bet. I mean, just take Alabama in the points in the first half. You do that most of the year. I mean, it was 80%. So we did well. And then my buddy moved away from me, and we quit talking about it. And then I went rogue for like 2 years. I was betting like Utah State at the West Coast game, midnight, just throwing bets in. And I was like, man, I'm out. So I stopped. But
did you see Uncut Gems?
Yes. Dude, that movie
gives me so much anxiety.
That movie tripped me out.
I think it tripped everybody out there. What a great movie.
Especially if you've dipped your toe into that world of like
chasing that money.
And I've got buddies that do parlays, and like I'm not even sure I even understand the inner workings of parlays now. Still, I mean, and teasers and all that.
Right.
And I'm so removed from that level of sport. Or like, so and so's doing going to get 4 layups at the half, and man, that's opening up Pandora's box there. So.
It is, and you gotta think there's people that are involved. Like there's been scandals where referees were involved, where referees were making calls they shouldn't have made, maybe calling fouls they shouldn't have called, and people getting paid. There's so much money being thrown around, and the average referee, what do they make?
Hey, dude. So I saw you I'm a giant Georgia fan, and I saw you obviously on the sideline on Saturday, and just some of those calls.
Yeah, there was some bad calls.
Getting weird.
We actually left after the first quarter and went to see Eminem. So we had an epic day. We saw first quarter of UT Georgia, and then jetted and went to Eminem at the racetrack.
The Formula One.
Yeah, Eminem played in front of like 150,000 people. It was fucking wild.
What a weekend for Austin too. I mean, because I had buddies that were like, why are you not coming? And I'm like, man, I've had to be me all year, and it's like the weather's chilly in Nashville. My boys want to go deer hunting. I'm going to take them deer hunting, sit on my back patio, and scream at the TV. But it got a little dicey there on the back. I was like, oh, it was weird.
Yeah. Well, just the energy. There's so much anticipation for a game like that.
You can't replicate it. You can't replicate it in any other. I guess those big global Brazil versus Argentina or whatever.
We had some friends from England who had never been to an American football game before.
What was their take on it?
They were blown away. They're like, "Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! This is madness!" I'm like, this is Texas football.
It's so fun, though.
They get serious here.
It's crazy.
I got to shoot the cannon. Boom.
Did you shoot it through the Georgia shirt, that one?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe I gave it bad luck.
You hurt my heart.
Maybe it was bad luck because they lost. Maybe what? Maybe it's a fucking rude thing to do.
Oh, yeah, man. It was a good win for Georgia, and like I said, both those programs are just so incredible.
It's when you're watching it behind the scenes. Watching how much organization there is, and it's incredibly complex.
And through the years, Kirby and I have gotten to be pretty good buddies. Kirby can't be buddies with anybody because that job requires. I've never seen a requirement of a job more than being a college.
It's probably like being a president.
It is, and so I don't text Kirby during the season. Really, I know man, just watching what those guys go through trying to manage these big programs like that. I mean, and when they're not coaching, I mean, dude, they are politicking.
Yeah,
I mean, they got to go to the steak supper for this, for this touchdown club here. So man, it's a wild ride what those dudes go through.
And when you think about gambling with calls, like bad calls, that has got to be. Imagine all your money's on the line, and you see some horrendous call, and you fucking.
See, I'm out of that, and I didn't really get into that heavily, even when I was betting regular games. But man, it's freedom. Man, I just watch the games with freedom, and I don't get in.
I'm good friends with Dana White, and he's a real degenerate.
I love how big. That's the best way to describe
Oh, he'll describe it that way.
Yeah, like
I get
most,
it from him.
They most, like your big horse racing guys, their adjective of themselves is I'm a degenerate. That's the first thing they say.
Jamie and I went to visit. We went with Shane Gillis and a bunch of other guys. We went to visit Dana while he was gambling. When we got there, he was down $600,000. And I was like, "What is happening?"
I heard him say he learned how to play baccarat because you can bet more. Like you can bet like $500K a hand or something, or crazy like that.
That's so crazy. I was getting anxiety just sitting there watching. And so then Taylor Lewan came over, and Dana and Taylor have this deal where Dana teaches Taylor what to gamble and how to do it. They're down $120,000 in what, 5 minutes? 5 minutes. 5 minutes are down 120 grand. And I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck, man? Look, Dana is rich as shit.
Obviously.
I know Taylor is wealthy, but there's like a level where you could lose $125,000 is $125,000.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've learned kind of like if you're betting 1,000 a hand, you can get down 50.
Yeah.
Like quick. But when you transition to that 30, 40, 50,000 a hand, you'll be down a million or two. And, and I say, because I've watched some other buddies that bet on that level, I'm talking about like 15-hand swing is an $800,000 swing. And I'm like, but that's the scary part about gambling when you don't have much money and you grow into some money, but your level of what you want to press your anxiety level and your endorphins and all that, it grows with your wealth, and man, next thing you know,
well, that's the only way they get their fix,
right.
too. They can't play $20 a hand.
Yeah, right. That goes away.
Right.
It's like,
right.
Well, it's like the whole, there's a lot in society that, I think we're preyed upon with that thought process, gambling and a lot of
dopamine hits.
Right. Yeah. And then once one level of the dopamine levels out, then you go to the next one.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. Like, forget about doing it. It's hard to watch. Like, I don't get it. I'm glad I don't do it.
Well, I can say that I always have fun with it. I mean, I've always had fun gambling, and a lot of times I'd take my band after we get off stage, and we'd have one band night, and I'd like set them all up with some chips, and I've gotten at a craps table where I can kind of manage everybody's bets, and I'm like, don't do that now, wait, and it's kind of like the steering the mothership, and we had some great nights, just laughing and cutting up and cheering, like I said, one guy walks up and everybody rubs his head for good. It's just if you camaraderie, at the craps table. I gambled so much at the craps table. My last night, they let my craps team that dealt me all the craps come on stage, and we celebrated the cat. I'm out there, like, I'm playing, and I look at my, because they work in teams, they all, and my team comes out on stage, and dude, I was roaring laughing. I'm like, yeah, so.
That's hilarious. Look, I know people have a problem with gambling. I think it should be legal, but it can get away from you.
Yeah, well.
But that's like a lot of things in this world. Alcohol, there's a lot of things that can get away from you.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it should be illegal.
Right, well, Lord.
It's just weird that it's only legal in a few states. I think that's expanding now. And then I remember when online gambling was illegal.
Oh, yeah. And then...
Wasn't that long ago? The early days of the UFC, online gambling was illegal.
And then because we're obviously southeastern Tennessee Bible Belt, and I don't know, but there's certain states. I guess Tennessee is a legal gambling state, or maybe Georgia. I can't tell. I have to talk to my nephews, all of his buddies, and see if they're on the little apps. But man, they'll go sign their buddies up to get the $200 free bread. I mean, they got all kind of little racket.
Yeah, well, and then also people would go to Indian reservations. That was the big thing.
And then you got to
also crazy.
Then
like,
you got to
gambling's
pay
illegal.
You got to pay the Indian reservation tax.
Right.
You got to pay your 50 cents to do the dollar bet.
Yeah.
Do that math.
Yeah, and you only have to be like a small percentage Native American to get a piece of that. So there's a lot of millionaires just hanging around that casino, just enjoying it. But if you got a place like in Connecticut, like
Mohegan and all that,
they're great places.
See, typically on my way kind of the Mohegan, I'd go play there a couple years. Or one night I did 3 nights there, and dude, I'm like getting off stage, just sitting there gambling, and I'm like, am I coming out ahead on this gig or what? But I think I got out of there making a little money.
Yeah. It's weird though that you could do that legally.
Well, then even like in Tennessee and Tunica back in the day, you just put a barge on the Mississippi River and you can gamble. It's like, well, what is that all about? I mean,
that's that show Ozark.
Right. Yeah.
It's
well, totally the same premise. It's like put a barge on the river and now let's take all these people's money.
Yeah. My buddy Johnny he was a pool hustler. He used to call people riverboat gamblers. When guys would just go off and a guy was a gambling addict, you just trick him into a game. He's like, guy's a riverboat gambler.
Or that's the two analogies: degenerate or riverboat gambler.
Yeah.
Be careful of all of them. So
it's just always been funny to me that like Native American reservations are essentially a country inside the country, and they can do whatever the fuck they want. Like I was just reading about this Colorado wolf deal. Where they've relocated wolves to Colorado, and the Native American reservation let them know the moment those wolves get onto our land, we're flying over in helicopters and gunning them down.
I elk hunt every year in Colorado, and is that where you've done?
I've done Colorado. Most of the years I go to Utah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Cam Haynes and I, we've got a connection with Cam, and just love that guy. But yeah, so when I saw Colorado do that, I was like, it's just like, what are we doing, guys?
Well, whenever you have biology that's getting voted on by people who don't understand it, it should be decided by wildlife biologists. That's it. That's the only people that should decide whether or not things like that happen.
Well, we can really dive into this, and let's do it.
Yeah.
My thing is, we are so governed in the world of wildlife biology through the states and stuff. They're not going to let they're not going to let humans ruin animal populations, I don't think, anymore.
No, of course.
If anything's going to happen, they're going to mess it up and let animal populations get too big.
Right.
I was, and I don't know who to name or whatever, but I was with some guys with Wyoming, and we're talking about grizzly bears.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, man, because they brought up grizzly bear problems, and I said, well, what is the deal? And they said, well, there's 1,500 or 14 to 1,500 grizzly bears in Wyoming. There needs to be 500 to 600, and 5 of the 1,500 are only hunting humans. Like
what?
Have totally.
But there's not that many human deaths.
Well, in Yellowstone, if you pay attention, there's about 2 or 3 that get
right. But those 500 grizzly bears that are just hunting humans.
Five, not 500.
So there's 5 grizzly bears.
Right. There's like 5 grizzly. Sorry, this probably won't be the first time I am not totally clear with you, but yeah. So there's 1,400 to 1,500. There needs to be 500 to 600 grizzlies, but of those 5 to 6, all of them, 5 of them have like, oh, we don't care about salmon anymore. We want to sit by this trail and pick off this hiker.
Jesus,
and
Christ.
that is a high up biologist in Wyoming telling me that, and I'm like, well, why won't they let y'all go in there? Let some hunters think about the. You can do the math. Do a $30,000 grizzly bear tag. Mm-hmm. Do a $20,000 one. They'll go for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Go in and manage it right. But there's one federal judge that's got it all shut down. One judge.
That's so crazy. My friend went moose hunting, said he saw no moose and he saw 12 grizzlies in Wyoming.
I went on a bear hunt in Alberta, and there's so many grizzlies now you can't even go. It was through Cam's people,
John and Jen.
Yeah. I saw them recently, and they've had to move.
Yeah, they move areas. Yeah, they have abandoned areas because they're overrun with grizzlies. They sent me some trail cam pics that are terrifying, like little school buses. They look like school buses, like the size of these fucking grizzlies.
Was it you that was talking about they were trying to determine a male grizzly versus a male gorilla and who would win? Did we ever?
I think I'm on team grizzly.
Me too.
Because they eat things and kill things every day. Gorillas just they fight. They just they puff their chest out. And they mostly eat grass.
Well, but when you think about 30, 40, $100,000 per grizzly, and then the guiding fee,
Yeah.
and then the taxidermy.
Yeah.
Think about the taxidermist.
And then the Pittman Roberts, people need to understand all the gear, everything, 10% of that goes to wildlife management. All of it.
And then at the end of that, nobody's going to let the grizzlies get
Exterminated.
right.
They're overpopulated now.
And then when you look at the population, how beautiful the elk population is in Colorado,
Yeah.
and how amazingly managed it is in Colorado for public hunters. For a guy like me that can go get an over-the-counter tag, I think they're probably going to wipe out over-the-counter tags for out-of-staters.
They're going to make it a draw tag.
And then now the wolves get to eat them, and I don't get to bring my elk hunting money in and give it to the
Right.
But
Well, the
I
thing
don't get
is, they always say that they're going to get to a certain level of the population, and then they're going to open it up for management, but they don't.
Wolf management.
Yeah, but what happens is people sue, and the wildlife, all the people that love wolves, they sue, and when they sue, they stop the hunt, and then it has to go to court, then it has to get decided, and if you get a radical judge like this judge that you said that's in Wyoming,
And these are all things that people in the know are telling me. So Lord,
Yeah.
I don't need a judge somewhere in Wyoming like pulling my files.
No, you're probably right. Everyone that I know that hunts there says that there's a lot of grizzly bears, and it's concerning because you don't see all of them. If you see a lot of them, there's a lot more than you don't see because most of them are just not just out in the open hanging out with you. Most of them are deep in the woods.
and so I went on a salmon trip up in British Columbia. And 99% of your interpretation of a grizzly is this big old fat chunky thing. Well, so we're flying in on these helicopters to go fish the salmon runs that are running up into the mountains of British Columbia, and it's an amazing trip. Like, you fly over in the helicopter, you look down, you see the huge schools of salmon, you take your fly rod and you go catch them and drink your beer. Well, the helicopter pilot was like, hey, man, we've seen some grizzlies in the area. And, at the time, we're like, man, this is all part of the
experience.
Yeah, it's like get us kind of going a little bit. Well, we land, and the night before, we didn't fish that day, so we'd flown in and drank some wine. And, dude, my eyes are like fuzzy, and we're fishing, and I tell my guy I'm with, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the helicopter and get a beer or something. And dude, I get there and I pop my beer and I'm like, I look down the river and I'm like, fuck, that is a fucking grizzly coming toward my buddy. And I went, Jay. And dude, it was slim and it was lean and like a greyhound. Not, I wouldn't say lean, but it hadn't got all fat on salmon yet. Well, it comes down the bank and jumps in, and we ease back to the helicopter. We look back, here comes another grizzly, literally 30 yards from us. And I'm like, we get there, and I'd left my beer on the bank, and my grizzly sticks his tongue in my beer, and then he jumps in the river. I run, grab the beer, drink. I'm like, grizzly spit. Anyway, the helicopter pilot goes,
You did not drink a beer
I
after
had a
grizzly
sip of it after. I had to.
But that's like,
Yeah,
what
I mean, he
kind
just
of
like-
trichinosis and wild shit are you going to get from that?
Some berry infection or whatever, salmon
some
infection.
moose ass.
So listen, dude, we get on the helicopter, and the pilot's like, man, they're getting too comfortable. We take off, fly a mile down the river. I'd already had my fly rod together. I never broke it down, so I sat it in the little basket, and we land. I take off about 200 yards, start fishing. And I had to slide down this like 20-foot cut bank where the river had cut the bank. I look across the river, and here comes a grizzly bear galloping
Oh, boy.
on the other side of the river. And I'm like, well, I'd already seen the other two mature ones, and I was like, well, that's a baby grizzly. I was like, that's cute. Dude, that grizzly hits that bank on the other side of that river and jumps about 20 feet in the air and lands in that river. It looked like a Volkswagen VW bug hit that river. I take off to the helicopter. all my guys are like, get here, get here. A mother and two of the babies were on my tail.
Oh, my God.
And when I got to the helicopter, dude, ruined my whole trip. I couldn't relax.
That's when it gets scary, when you're on the mothers.
Oh, they're the ones that
they fuck everybody up.
In 2 seconds.
Yeah, they don't play any games. When they have their cubs with them, they don't take any chances. Like, I'm gonna incapacitate this dude.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
It is. So that was my grizzly encounter.
I wish all these people that get to vote, unlike BC, when BC outlawed grizzly bear hunting, I wish all those people that experience. You should have to experience what it's actually like there. You should have to see. You should have to see the population. You see what it's like experiencing them. These aren't teddy bears. And for you saying you should be able to manage the population as wildlife biologists say it should be managed, you're putting people in danger, especially people that live up there.
The thing about it with me, now listen, I grew up deer hunting my whole life, ducks, dove, quail, and man, I always had a soft spot for bears. And probably it's not like I got to go shoot bears every year. I mean, whatever. But when you find out, when you hear you are a hunter and there are, like when I met John and Jenny, and they were like, Luke, there are so many that need to be managed. I was like, man, that's cool. Let's go do a bear hunt. Had a great time and didn't get all heady with killing a bear. I mean, I know guys in Tennessee, in Gatlinburg, Joe. I mean, dude, they are darting black bears off second-story Holiday Inn balconies. They're digging in. I mean, they're digging in candy, vending machines.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's just a matter of time. Somebody's gonna walk out their balcony and they're gonna get got right there.
100%.
And they dart them and move them back into the Smoky Mountains. And then
you know what happened in New Jersey, right? The governor ran on this policy of banning the grizzly bear hunt. And he got the black bear hunt.
Jersey.
In Jersey. Jersey has the most black bears per capita in the country, which is crazy. I'm going to send you some because I sent this to Cam last night because it's nuts. This dude just shot the state record.
So it's back in.
Yes, it's back in immediately because they had so many interactions.
Joe, my mother lives in Mexico Beach, Florida, on the Panhandle.
There's a lot over there, too.
And they... like trash cans turned over every day, crazy amounts in South Georgia and Florida.
Yeah, that's it. So I have a photo of the bear, Jamie. I'm going to send it to you next to the dude who killed it.
Right.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Here, I'm going to send you this too. But look at that. Look at the size of that bear. So this is in New Jersey. This is New Jersey. This is New Jersey. That's a 770-pound bear in New Jersey.
I didn't know they were up there that.
They're dense with bears.
Well,
I have a buddy who lives up there. He says he sees them all the time.
So down in the furthest, most southern corner of Georgia, Bainbridge, Georgia, and all that, and then Mexico Beach, Florida, around Lake Seminole. I mean, they're everywhere down there.
They're all over the place. You got that photo of that dude laying next to it?
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at the size of that thing. Now, that article says 800 pounds. That's from Sever Broadheads. It says 880, but the other article said 770. It's big. Whatever the actual size it is, it's big. Look at that Sever hole. Good shot,
it's,
dude.
like I said, I'm
shot.
not
That's a perfect shot.
I think there's healthy numbers of all of it. And like I said, when I see, when you see, I don't know, wolves and elks.
Well, there's more than healthy numbers. Okay, there it goes.
But to hunt
770. Oh, gutted. 770 gutted. Whoa. That's what it is. So they weighed it in at 770 pounds gutted. So they think it was about 880. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Yeah, you see they got it in a slide. They had to put it in
that's crazy.
Man, there's so many of...
And for people who don't know, people eat bear. And bear's good.
Yeah.
It tastes good.
Well, and the sad part about, I think, California, the whole... the gallbladder deal, I don't know much about that, but, there was a black market for black bear gallbladders.
Yeah, it's in some cultures, they think it's medicine.
And,
So they were killing black bears just for their gallbladder?
Yeah.
But I think that was overblown. I don't think it's going to affect the population. I'm just guessing, especially a place like New Jersey. How are you going to affect that population? They're everywhere there. You ever see the fights they have in Far Rockaway?
What's Far Rockaway?
Far Rockaway, New Jersey is like a nice suburb. It's like
And so they're
a nice
fighting-
neighborhood. Giant bears. Jamie, pull that video up. Giant bears
Well, did you ever
brawling on
see
this
the guy
guy's
that-
front lawn.
Did you ever see the guy that filmed like the 10-minute grizzly fight?
This might be. Oh yes, I did see that. That was insane. But that's where grizzlies are supposed to be. This isn't a fucking neighborhood. And these are big bears, and they're duking it out on this guy's nice lawn. They go tumbling down the stairs, and they start fighting in the street, and people are watching, and they're probably fighting over trash cans.
Look at him.
So look at the size of these fuckers. Imagine like you're watching TV and
Oh,
you hear.
man.
So these dudes, they duke it out. This is like, Jamie, how long is this video? It's like a 10-minute video. 6-minute video. So 6 minutes, for 6 minutes, these dudes duke it out. They pile out into the street. They're biting each other. And this guy's filming from a car. And you see it as it like tumbles down. Like, so pull it down so when they're in this. So they come tumbling down the hill, full UFC style, duking it out, passing by this guy's mailbox.
Look at him.
It goes on forever. And they're out in the street. This is a nice neighborhood. And you have huge predators in front of a Volvo. I mean, what the fuck? And this guy was trying to ban the hunt. Hey, pal, there's plenty of these bears. You should hunt them. Because if you don't hunt them, they're going to hunt you. But
Well, they're going to that's the thing. I think it's no different than, I grew up in South Georgia with gators, and
yeah, same thing.
you get one comfortable with you, man, and it's
not good.
It is not good at all.
What's the problem what we're dealing with here is ballot biology. It's all people that are very emotional. Most of them live in cities. Before I ever hunted bear, before I ever hunted at all, I was like, kill a bear. What an asshole. You don't have to be an asshole to kill a bear. And then you get it.
I was kind of the same way.
But you probably had more hunting experience than me. I grew up
I
fishing.
had whitetail hunting, and I remember, man, being a 14-year-old kid shooting a deer and having remorse, but then you need to have that remorse too as a hunter. You need to understand.
You're taking a life.
Yes, and you need to, and I tell my boys that. My boys have grown up in it seriously, and I'm like, hey, man, hold up.
Right.
Let's just don't run up to it, chunk it in the machine, just do a little homage.
Respect. Yeah.
Right. So go ahead. But the remorse, go ahead.
The remorse is important. It's a part of the experience. Like you are now connected to the food that you're going to eat.
Right.
And I think that's what most people don't have. And I think that's bad for us. I think all of human existence has been wrapped around hunting animals, and we hunted them ourselves forever, and then we eventually figured out agriculture. But when we hunted them ourselves most of the time that humans were human, and we had this deep connection to this animal because this animal was going to sustain our family. And they used it. They took the skin from it, and they made all kinds of things. They took the tendons. They made strings for bows.
And the fur.
Yeah, the fur. I mean, it's what their clothes were made out of. They ate all the organs. They ate everything. It sustained everybody, and that was how people lived. And then when people stopped living like that, we got a little confused. I know people that eat meat. Like my wife was at dinner with her friends, and they were from England, and one of the friends said, "Where's your husband?" And she said, "Oh, he's elk hunting." And the guy made some sort, while he was cutting a steak, made some sort of like, oh, that's atrocious. Like, why did you do that? And she goes, why are you eating meat? You didn't, like, you paid a supermarket hitman to go kill that fucking steak.
Listen.
Like, this is so stupid. But when you're removed from it culturally, and England is basically removed from it culturally, there's roe deer there, and there's some stags.
Yeah.
But for the most part, England has a very small hunting population, and I believe bow hunting is actually outlawed there. It's outlawed in a lot of places in Europe. It's outlawed in Scotland. It's outlawed in a lot of places. So there's a deep ignorance as to what's going on and what it is, and then they have judgment based on these cultural norms of like, and there's media depictions of hunters in movies. They're never the good guys. They're always pieces of shit. The hunters are always assholes. They're always drunk. They're always, trying to kidnap women or kill somebody, right? They're always like torturing an animal. There's always something where someone has to come in and fuck up the hunters, because hunters they're portrayed as bad guys in movies.
Yeah, and then, and listen, the success rate of the proper ethical things always line up. That the success rate doesn't always go like you wanted it to.
Right.
But the fact that hunters still are working every day just to keep hunting, and the fact that hunting is declining so bad.
I think it took a little uptick during
Did it?
COVID.
Yeah.
Because during COVID, people were like, hey, man, what if there's no food? My buddy lived in Asheville, and he sent me a photo in the middle of the pandemic. He goes, dude, there's no meat. And he was going down the meat aisle. He's like filming it. He's like, there's no fucking meat here.
One of the best things that's just naturally happened at our house, and my wife is, my wife's like typical housewife, plays tennis, great shape. Doesn't, when she kind of eats like a bird when she does eat, but man, she will call me and she'll go, hey, let's have elk night. And because we keep our freezer in my garage and I've got all my tackle in there. And she has, through the years, understood, like, hey, I'm going to run out to the freezer. We're going to do taco night. I'm going to throw all the elk meat in the sink, start thawing it. And man, over the last 5 years, I've woke up and we haven't had beef, cattle, and hamburger, tacos, spaghettis, bolognese. We haven't eaten it in 5 years at my house, and it takes you a minute to go, hey, put it in the freezer and then plan your dinner. We all get busy with kids and stuff like that, but I'm so proud of her that she'll call me and be like, hey, I'm going out to the freezer. Do you want me to get these elk tenderloins? Because by the time I got 3 children that go out there with me now, and 2 or 3 of us will get one. I mean, we got enough meat. Like, it's awesome that...
And it's the best food.
It's...
so good for you.
Man, when you pat out an elk patty hamburger, like, your hands have nothing on it.
Right.
Like, I mean, you could take beef patty and just like, it's just like...
fat grease.
It's like caulking,
But that's also why it tastes so good.
Right, which there's a time and place for that. But it's pretty cool that elk gets that. And they still have to add a little bit of pork fat to elk just to keep it. But
I give a lot of meat away, and whenever I do, when I get texts back, I get excited. People are like, damn, this is so good. And it makes me feel better. It does make you feel like there's something about wild game. And you get energy from it.
Well, yeah, and when you can go like we at my place, my deer place in southern Tennessee, yeah, man, we make sure, man, I got a big walk-in cooler there, and if we're not going to take something in there, I've got some red stag up my place in Tennessee. I did a high fence down there, and so between stag and whitetail and elk, we're moving meat around and making jerky.
Are they roaring on your property?
Dude, they do.
That's the craziest sound.
It's the baddest.
I thought the elk sound was crazy. Elk sound's probably the craziest.
It's the best. Elk
but I'm used to it. But the roar.
But when you hear a stag,
it's bizarre. It sounds like a lion. I put one on my Instagram story, Jamie. See if you can find it. This dude just staring at the camera, roaring. I hear Argentina's a great place to go.
Yeah,
I hear they have a lot of them down in Argentina.
It's interesting because Tennessee is very, very strict on their whitetail.
Here he is. Listen to this guy. Ooh. Imagine if you were some dude and it's like 1,000 years ago and you don't know what the fuck that is. You wandered through the woods.
So my 14-year-old has been going to Colorado with me since he was 5 or 6. And when they're that little, obviously they can't bow hunt, but we would get an elk down and I'd let the boys hike up with me and pack the elk out. And one day we had another hunter with us going to get an elk, and my 2 little ones were following me. And I said, well, we had an elk bugle. I said, hey, boys, stay right here. And they're 6, 6, and 8. And we went up the hill, and I could keep, well, Tate, right before I walked off, he goes, Dad, are they going to kill us if we sit here? Because those elk bugle, I mean, you can feel their bugles in the woods. And I said, no, son.
You feel them in your chest.
So we went up and tried to call this elk in, and then some elk did actually cross in front of them, and there's 6 and 8 just sitting there, this big herd of elk coming by, and we come back. And I was watching, I could see them sitting down there on this tall log that I put them on, but I got back and they were like, those elk were all, I mean, you know, having your boys, I mean, that's what I live for, and to keep the, you know, and I just wish we could create a narrative where getting your children doing that will I mean, I don't know.
Well, hunting has a very difficult entry. It's very difficult.
It is.
If you're a person who's like listening to this, like I've never hunted before, but I'd like to learn how to do it. Good luck. It's very hard
You're
to do.
right.
Very, very hard. It's very hard to find someone who's going to teach you, who has the patience to show you what to do. If you've never shot a rifle before, it's very hard to understand, like, what is the difference between a 300 Win Mag and a 7mm?
Yeah.
What is this and that?
That is the tricky part, really, with all outdoors.
Yeah.
And if you could bridge the gap between all parts of urban life and allow urban life to find a place to go. But when we went through a phase in outdoors where landowners were like, if you hunt my land and you twist your ankle and break your leg, you're going to sue me. So no, you're not allowed to come hunt my land. So all the deer get overpopulated, eat all my crops. And then, so I think now states, I think Tennessee has put a law in to where some of those getting sued. Well, what I'm saying is that feeds people's inability to go find somewhere to hunt too. I mean,
Right.
So many people don't have a 50-acre farm; they can't afford it, but they want to go hunt. And then, I just hope the hunting community and even the whole outdoor community can make it more accessible. And landowners. I mean, I had this little lady that I wanted a turkey hunt. She had 60 acres that bordered like a 300-acre tract of mine, and I was like, ma'am, when I'm out hunting and some of my turkeys or our turkeys may cross onto your property, do you mind if I go? And her house is a mile away from, or it's 50 acres, it's probably 400 yards. She thought my shotgun was going to shoot through her house and kill her. And I had to spend 45 minutes. And she grew up in Tennessee, in the country,
Right.
and she doesn't understand that
Ballistics.
a shotgun is not, you know.
Right.
And so, man, the education of it all, just the bridge and the knowledge of it gradually gets worse and worse.
Right.
But the need for it
Gets greater and greater.
gets greater and greater. And I tell my children all the time, I'm like, boys, there is no drug in the world. And I'm not I'm pretty straight guy, never done much of that, but I said, I got a lot of crazy buddies that have, and when a big elk's walking in or a big whitetail or you hook a big fish there, that the adrenaline from that, no drug will replace it. And
Nothing's like it. I've done some wild shit in my time.
I've seen the documentation of the wild stuff. So.
I've done some wild shit. I'm gonna send you a video, Jamie, of something that happened last week. So this is the best example of that. This is the best example of that. We had this elk, and he was out at about 50 yards. We'd snuck in on him. He was over the ridge at 50 yards. We could see the tips of his antlers moving around. I had my sight set at 50 yards, and as my friend was calling him, my friend was at a tree that was about 20 yards from me. He came right into our lap. So it was one of those things where I had him ranged at 50
and then
I see him
boom.
coming in. He's coming in. I dial him again. I range him again at 40. I dial him in. I'm like, oh, shit, he's coming into our lap. He just kept coming in. Watch this video. Do you don't have it yet? God damn. Modern technology. It didn't make it through? Oh, it's still going. Hold on.
Pressing it to send it through iMessage.
Oh, is that what it is?
Might be.
Okay, let me. It said it went through. Did it go through?
Just got it.
Okay. Bust out those cigars.
You want a little heavy or a mild?
Whatever you have. Here it goes. Check this out.
Oh,
Listen to this. Listen to this when he comes over the hill and gets angry. Like when I heard that, I was like, uh-oh, here he comes. So right now he's about 50 yards.
What's your heart doing right now?
Right now I'm pretty calm because he's at 50 yards.
Right.
But now I'm realizing he's not going to stop. So I range him again. Now he's at 40.
Oh,
He
God.
pauses for a second. He's staring right at me. I have to stop.
Oh, yeah, so you're off to the right.
I'm off to the right and I'm pressed up against a tree. Full camo, hiding in plain sight. So now he's moving out. So now I'm like, oh shit, I'm moving my sight to 20. So now I move my sight to 20. And I'm trying to figure out a time to draw. So right here I draw, that's when he turns.
Oh,
He sees some movement.
that's another one bugling. Perfect.
That was it. Boom. It's that, and there's so much nerves and so much like anxiety, and you're ranging him, and he's coming in, and it's like, whew, and you think he's gonna be at 50, but all of a sudden he's at 20, and then it's like, don't punch the shot, like relax,
Well-
execute a perfect shot.
Well, here's the beauty of all that in the outdoors. You know, when you here, these are mild. They're good though.
Okay.
Man, when you kind of conquer one level of fishing or hunting, then there's another one you can go learn the space in. You know what I'm saying? You can go.
Right.
And what I say is like I mean, from the elk hunter that I was, 10 years ago, like took so much work to even get from a 10% knowledgeable elk hunter to a 60%. Now, like I can watch that elk react to everything and know how that elk's reacting because I've done it for 11, 12 years now. And I've taken my boys. Well, so when you get tired of whitetail hunting and whitetail hunting gets rudimentary, then go try to dig in and take it to the next level to challenge yourself. That's what's so fun about, like when I was always a bass fisherman, never fly fisherman. Well, then I got into fly fisherman, and that became the new 7-year challenge that
You tie your own flies?
I can now. I can tie big streamers,
Right.
but like the little bitty
Where you
intricate.
gotta get like goggles on
Oh
and shit.
yeah,
It's a real art form.
totally. One of the most rewarding things you can do
Sure. You make your
is
own
make
lures.
your own fly
Yeah.
and trick
a big ass fish.
a big fish with it. And
Yeah. My only problem with fly fishing is a lot of it is catch and release. And I'm like, it's fun. I know it's fun, but you're basically just fucking with fish. You're just fucking with them. Like, I could have killed you, bitch. You know?
well,
I get
gets-
it. I get
the
it.
handling of the trout. Like when I was, I grew up bass fishing, and we're like, and the bass flies out of the water.
Right.
We grab it, and as kids, we're like, with the, you catch a
Right.
trout, and it's like a,
Majestic creature.
Yeah, it's like a team in the delivery room comes in to hold the brand new baby or what. Heck, they treat newborns. They're slapping newborns around and getting their lungs going before you mishandle a trout. But the whole mystique of trout and all of this stuff is just. Man, it's outlets for all of us, I mean, I remember when I moved to Nashville, and man, my dad, he kept me fishing and hunting, and he wound up being a pretty dang successful business guy. And he told me, he goes, dude, when you move to Nashville, don't forget to take time to go do that stuff. And, for about 2 or 3 years, man, I didn't. I was focusing on my career. But now as I roll out, man, as I'm kind of
Established.
it's it's been the highlight. And the fact that 3 boys landed in my life, like, my wife's like, you're it's not even fair that you have, because I can always use one of them. I was like, well, baby Bo, he's really been stressed at school and he wants to hunt this season. She's like, I know your game. But
Well, we're so lucky in this country, too, that there's so much places that are public land. That's another thing that Europe doesn't have. I mean, that's what Robin Hood was all about. People think Robin Hood was steal from the rich and give to the poor. No, it was about hunting lands and hunting rights. People were starving, and the king had all the land. and there was all these deer, and Robin Hood would go out and whack deer. Like, that was the story about Robin Hood. It really wasn't about stealing money. It was really about hunting rights.
Right.
They don't have that
I
over
didn't
there.
know that.
Yeah, but that's why it's so fucked over there. That's why they don't have this attitude
and
about
that's
it.
That's why, you know, you hope the whole education of hunting and landowners and conservation of the animals and all the land ties into where, you know, landowners need to have a better understanding of, man, give this old boy a break. Give this guy that just knocked on your door and asked permission the good old-fashioned way, man, give him a break and let him take his son or go hunt, you know, and don't, you know, don't hoard your 15,000 acres to your
right,
you know,
till you're dead. But hopefully he's a good guy. That's the problem. Also, is that assholes ask for permission and then do something stupid. You know,
dude, I had a guy shoot a stag. First year I put my stag in my fence, shot him right off the road.
Really?
Left him, man.
Oh my God!
You talk about pissed.
Right off the road, just shot him and left him.
Shot him and left him.
Yeah, see, there's people like that out there. That's so fucked up.
It's the bad apples, you know. They're out there.
How could you do that to a stag too? God, that's so awful.
Yeah.
And the meat is so sensational. To know that meat is going to go to waste, that's so crazy.
Man, I don't know. You know, I guess enough whiskey and an old back road and a rifle, you'll
shitty education, bad childhood, all the above.
Well, but
yeah, all the above.
But yeah, I mean, I look at I've got Till, my nephew. He's lived with me since he was 12, and then so Till's 22 now, and Bo's 16, and Tate is 14. And Till was 15 when he killed his first elk. The rule has been, if you can pull 55 pounds, you're ready to hunt. And so Bo is a lot bigger than Tate. When he was 13 and 14, so Bo, my 13-year-old, killed a full-grown elk at 13.
Whoa. With a bow?
With a bow.
Whoa.
Totally the friggin' most badass thing I've ever seen. And then,
just to be that young and be able to execute the shot.
Dude, he did it, and he earned it. And like I said, I've been hiking him up those hills. That's what another, like the hunting and the killing is that, man, when you pack out a damn 800-pound animal, the first time I packed my elk out, dude, when I got to the Polaris, I mean, I was sobbing, like from exertion, like delusional, because we took a wrong turn. We hit a big aspen blowdown, and I had to tote the head and the cape out, and I had to walk over blown down aspens with that cape. And once we got 500 yards into the blowdown, and man, we got to that bug in, you know, all the elk hunting guides. They're the toughest dudes.
Oh yeah, they're doing that all year long. They're grizzled. They're
the toughest guys. I tell people, man, if I get called to a serious, if I get called in a serious war, I'm calling my elk guides. That's my first. My first call. So, but it's, you know, and I didn't grow up ever thinking I'd have the opportunity or the you know the ability to go hunt elk. But once you start doing it, but you know, man, this week Thursday I killed my biggest whitetail I ever did, and
really?
Man, I'm so like overwhelmed by killing it. I haven't even I don't even know if I've enjoyed it yet, because it kind of happened fast, but it's just so fun.
You got a picture? How big is it?
It was big.
Yeah.
So listen now, and so I didn't post it because it's obviously in my high fence, and but man, this deer was born in the fence. In Tennessee, you can't bring any genetics in. You can't do anything. Whatever herd you have,
wild herd,
whatever wild Tennessee deer you have to grow them. And man, this deer, Joe, when he was 2 years old, we were like, what in the fuck? What a UFO ship dropped this off in here. He started with huge mass, different looking genetics, and we watched him we grew him we feel like he's 5.5, and
whoa,
dude, we are over the moon about that
stag.
Deer. I know.
That's a huge deer. How big is your property?
It's I guess altogether it's probably 1,200 acres in the
So
fence.
that is much more space than a deer would ever travel in its natural life anyway.
I'll put it to you this way. We put about 18 red stag in there. They're up. We don't know how many there are.
That deer might have get fucked by a stag.
I think
his
might.
mom.
Yeah, he might have.
That
He
might be
might
a
have crossed a hybrid. Yeah, dude, we will ride around. We have too many stag, and we'll try to thin them out. Joe, we can't find them. Like, literally, we'll spend a day. I'm like, hey, grab the rifle. We're going to pull up here, walk this bottom. Can't find them. There's 60 of them in there. We hunted them for 4 days this weekend. We killed 2. So
Wow.
so 1,200 is, I mean,
It's much larger than a deer would have in its natural roam.
yeah. And I listen. I mean, there are a million ways you can criticize me for having the high fence, but I have low fences that we bounce back and forth on the low fences because that's fun as hell too, to not know what's walking in. But the main thing is I wanted my boys to have the ability to manage deer and grow them. And I grew up, I love South Texas. Big, I love South Texas deer hunting. But I learned, I leased a South Texas place down here. And then I learned having, young children and my schedule, man, to go own a South Texas ranch, commit that much to a South Texas ranch and get 5 days there wasn't my thing. So my high fence in Tennessee is kind of like my little ode or my little homage to my love for South Texas whitetails.
So you can keep it close.
Keep it close. It's 55 minutes from the house.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's a retreat. I get down there, Starlink has ruined us because now we have internet.
Yeah.
But before that, man, we'd pull in the holler down there and you'd have to drive up to the hill to make a phone call, but Elon saved us on that. So
Yeah, the new Starlink's wild. It's the size of a notebook.
well, what was
Lay it
funny
down
is
the
the first time we saw the satellites come over, we were at elk camp. And, my nephew Till, he's 21, and we're all liquored up. And my nephew, he goes, "Guys, I know we've been drinking all day, but what in the hell is coming toward us right now?" And we were like. And then we had one guy in the group was like, "God damn, that's Elon Musk." And we watched it go over and we were like, wow, what a.
It's amazing. We used one in Utah for the first time this year. It's so easy to set it up in like 5
did it
minutes.
too.
And then we're online. YouTube.
I mean, my
whatever you
wife,
want.
when I went to elk camp, my wife was like, "All right, I'll see you. I'll talk to you in 6 days." First day, elk camp, set the Starlink out, FaceTime.
Yeah.
"Hey, baby, how are you?"
It's crazy.
Yeah.
My buddy was deer hunting recently in South Texas, and he said on 3 different occasions in the week, their deer got bumped by illegals. He said it was crazy. He said illegal aliens just moving through the ranch. He said they have, a
Listen.
swarm of them every day.
I hunt South Texas every year, and the ranch we went to last year, at any given moment, you can drive and pick up 50 backpacks. That ranch looks like, I hadn't been, this ranch was closer to the border than I've ever been, and there are piles of backpacks and tarps. They'll take tarps and put the tarp out, and they'll wait in the day, and then they get picked up at night typically. But when they get picked up, they chunk their backpack, and dude, the ranch I was at, they have to have a full-time team of people just going around picking up backpacks and keeping trash off the ranch.
My buddy who has a ranch in South Texas found a dead guy. Found a guy who ran out of water. Just died on his ranch.
And it's heartbreaking because, dude, if anybody, dude, I can't imagine having to walk through that brush to get to freedom.
Right.
Because when I
And
get
not
back,
knowing where you're going.
not knowing where you're going, and probably you have kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, when I leave South Texas, I'm pulling cactuses out of my ass for a month.
Yeah.
Especially if you do, you go rattle for them and stuff. So man, it's
Forget about rattlesnakes. Forget about everything else that's down there.
and water. Yeah, when you think about, man, you get your water rations.
Yeah.
You miss that.
Yeah. You could zig when you should have zagged, and you're not going to run into water, especially down there. And it was in the summer, so, 105 degrees outside. This poor dude just died. And they found him.
Well,
Like
every
a
ranch I've went to, the ranch owner, they're encountering two deaths a year, 15 to 20. Most of the time they come up to the main headquarters needing water, and when they get to you, or that's been my experience with talking to ranch managers down there, they're very, they're not, I don't think they're there to create any problems. They just like, hey, we need some water. And
the vast majority of them are just trying to get a better life.
And
we would be doing it too. Could you imagine if you were living in a third world country and you had kids and you realize you can get to America and you get a good job and you got to figure out how to do it? Yeah, I would do it. We'd all do it. We would all do it. It's just the craziness of not knowing where you're going in South Texas, which is so vast. I mean, I think it's one of those things where people talk about it. It's almost like talking about space, like, oh, the galaxy is 200 million stars or 200 billion stars. It doesn't make sense because it's like it's too big for you to understand. If you had to walk through South Texas, it's South Texas.
Well,
Texas itself is bigger than like multiple countries in Europe. Yeah.
Well, I think, and even imagine before like the oil booms and oil rigs and stuff like now they have a little bit of visual lights to walk to.
Right.
I mean, man, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Just striking out.
Just taking
crossing
a chance.
the Rio Grande. And
hoping, or maybe you'd gone with someone who went through it before and they have a vague memory of what's the best way to get to a creek.
I don't know. I mean, we've been there, and the guys they open box blinds, the deer hunting towers, and there's a family sleeping in the box blind, and man, you gotta feel so sorry for them. I mean, how bad? Sure. Like, I mean, dude, I remember when I was 15, 16 years old processing Cubans, where it's so bad that you're gonna fucking piece together a raft, and you're gonna give it a go for Miami.
Right.
I remember being 16 going, how bad must that be? How bad must that be?
Pretty fucking bad.
Pretty fucking bad.
Their case is a little different because they're running from a communist dictatorship. And they were like, that's why the most Republican motherfuckers in this country are Cubans. Cubans go hard. They're like, we've seen what all this socialist horseshit comes down to. And it comes down to government control over every aspect of your life, and they enforce it with violence. They enforce it with guns. It's not as simple as everybody just gives up whatever they have, and now everybody has an equal amount. That's all nonsense. That's the hook. But the reality is the government controls everything, and you are fucked. And they always live in big-ass houses, and they eat great food, and everybody else
and
is
it's everywhere. It's
by.
from Africa to Cuba to
Venezuela.
The whole African.
Yeah.
That whole.
Have you ever hunted in Africa?
I haven't, but I know I will. I will. I can go on this show and say, man, I'm not one of those guys that's like thinking about an elephant or lions and all that. I love to bow hunt, and I'd like plains animals, your kudus and all that stuff, man. I to be able to, when my boys get a little older and we can do a proper 2-month. Currently, sports and my children have ruined my hunting life, because my boys are going to play all the sports. But when we can get I'd love to do them a gap year and let's go do a true safari.
Yeah.
And when I say safari, that doesn't mean I want to go like hunt 60 days. I want to do like I want to see all of the Serengetis and all of the animals and take in the animals for a month and have like the wives and the girls and the girlfriends, and we sit out there and do the safaris. But then I want to carve out 2 or 3 days where all the boys go get the true plains game.
Yeah.
And I would love. I tell you, it's a pretty cool story. My lead pilot is South African. And during COVID, man, his mother was dying, and he couldn't get down there to tell his mother bye. And at this point, I just kind of got to know AJ, and man, I've always heard that South Africans are pretty badass dudes. And at the time, I was learning that AJ's a pretty badass dude. I didn't altogether know it, but well, he got with me and he goes, Luke, man, it's still, I cannot get into South Africa. It may have been his mother or his wife's mother, but I called some local guys, some local Congress guys in Tennessee, and they granted him permission to get down there, and they got to tell either his wife's mother bye. Well, he comes back and he's like, Luke, I now owe you a Cape Buffalo. And I was like, what? He goes, my family has a big ranch. We're overrun with Cape Buffalo, and you now have one of my Cape Buffalo. So, dude, he is going to fly me down there, and I'm like, and that's just kind of the way he's wired. But you know, he's going to help us with some safari stuff.
Don't they call them the Black Death?
Yeah, now they are bad. Yeah, you don't just go running up to them.
Yeah,
like with your not your shit together.
That's a big animal. That's like a 1,800-pound animal, right?
Maybe bigger, and like
all muscle. So Cam and Adam Greentree, they went up to Australia. You know, Australia has like an infestation of Asian buffalo. They have I forget which type of buffalo it is, but invasive. So someone introduced it, like all the animals in Australia. A lot of the mammals were introduced, and they have no natural predators. So they have these buffalo up there everywhere. Cam said he shot one, and they went up there with no food, and they went up there to live off the land. They're drinking out of fucking crocodile lakes, like literally bathing in that shit, filtering water, eating whatever fish they caught.
It's Cam's new version of pushing himself. Now he's gonna.
I think it was Adam's idea.
Oh, I got
He's
you.
a psycho too. So the both of them are perfect together. So he said he had one piece of buffalo in his mouth for a half an hour, just chewing on it. He said that's how tough they are. He said it took forever to eat that thing.
The true form of that's even a whole nother level of true organics when it takes you. When your jerky's jerky right out of the right in the field. But,
yeah, well, there's no dry aged buffalo out there. No, that's a.
Did he say how was a taste of it? Because most plains animals in Africa, historically, they say are far beyond our plains animals as far as the meat, like your kudus and I'm drawing a blank on all the plains games. And like I said, this is stuff that I'm like totally elementary in because I just don't know much about that whole African thing.
It seems like the things that the big cats want to eat are all delicious.
Right, yeah.
Like I shot a Nile guy a couple of years ago,
yeah.
and tigers eat them.
Right. Did you ever eat the Nile guy?
Yeah, it's delicious.
And the meat is like a more vivid red color to it than even our elk and stuff.
Well, it's all delicious. My favorite is still elk, but another one is axis deer. They get hunted by tigers, and they're some of the best tasting animals alive. Axis deer are delicious. Well, I think cats are smart, just like bears are smart too. Salmon's delicious.
Sit there and pick them off.
They know what they're doing.
Well, have you done Africa? Are you going to do it?
I would like to. I'd like to go over to Africa just to see it.
You really got it. Cam, was he kind of your catalyst?
Oh yeah.
And God, it's like you had
Michael Jordan teaching me how to play
Michael
basketball.
Jordan teach you how to shoot free throws. Yeah, it's so fun though. But even with guys, I tell you, man, I dove hard into duck hunting, and you talk about learning to blow a duck call. And when you think you know how to blow a duck call, and then you get next to somebody that blows a duck call, and you blow yours, and the room starts laughing at you, like ridicule, like take your duck call off and put it in your bedroom and leave it when we go hunting. And I'm like, dude, I've been working on this fucking thing for 4 years, and they're like, and it's so funny, but
it's like elk bugles.
Yeah,
like someone who sucks at bugling. Like you hear me, like, what the fuck was that?
I mean, it's like you walking in with a tutu on.
Yeah. I love duck hunting too. I've never done it, but I love the idea of it because you're sneaking, you're hiding, you got fake ducks, you get the whole deal.
So listen,
some people have ducks that even have like flopping wings.
Dude, we got all. Listen, man, let me tell you something, dude. I got given a chocolate lab about 8 years ago, and here comes this wormy ass chocolate lab into my home. You know, scrawny, and since then, oh my God, that damn animal has thrust me into duck hunting just so I could take him duck hunting. And man, that
sounds like the same excuse you use with your kids.
Right, my kid, yeah.
I have to go for the dog.
Yeah, for the dog.
The dog needs some duck hunting in its life.
And my wife is this dog, man. This dog can open every drawer in our house. He can open Frito-Lays with his. He can smack Frito-Lays open and eat them. He's pushed a porcelain pound cake on a porcelain island off onto the floor, ate the pound cake and the porcelain dish, and like X-ray 100 shards of porcelain in his stomach. The vet's like, put that fucker out in the yard, and if he makes it. If he lives, call me back. He lived, and now I have duck hunting properties, and my boy, we're in the house blowing duck calls. My wife's like, my wife's like 4 boys in the house, all of them blowing duck calls. She's like, man, one day, yeah.
So do you have one of them setups where you're like hiding in one of those shacks that's underground?
Well, yeah, we have elevated blinds that are brushed in and some brush, and then we have pit blinds that are. When you get down in a pit blind,
then you lift it up.
Yeah, you're right along the water level.
Right.
And then, we have, there's experiences where you wade in the woods, and they come down in the woods, and man, it's just, and it's the thing that really makes duck hunting kind of like when you're in a blind with your. Let's just say you got your buddies from way back, and there's 5 of you, and you're sitting there smoking cigars. And you're in the blind together, and it's very social too. Drinking coffee, it's 15 degrees, coffee, cigar, and everybody's like, shut up, and you work the ducks. They light in front of you, you kill them. The dog gets them, brings the duck back. You look at the duck, and you're just like, you just have a big old toke on your cigar, and you're like, yeah, this is pretty good shit right here.
Are you good at cooking them?
Yeah, man. The thing about it, when you do, your grain ducks, your ducks that feed on your rice and your corn. Mm-hmm. You like a diver duck that eats essentially minnows. Yeah, you don't want to eat that. But and geese are. You find somebody that can cook a goose. You know the story about how to cook a goose?
No.
Well, you get a big pot and you put a bunch of water, and then you put a concrete cinder block in there, and you boil the goose, and you pull the goose out and eat the cinder block. But some people can make.
But I thought goose was like a thing,
like a
Christmas goose.
A speckled goose. Speckle bellies are good. But like a mallard and a wood duck, oh man, a wood duck with jalapeno and cheese and bacon wrap, which nothing's bad when you do that. But
my friend Jesse Griffiths, he runs this restaurant out here called Dietary.
Is it?
It's fantastic. And he serves a lot of wild game. And Jesse came on this hunt with us with Steve Ranella down in South Texas. And Jesse cooked some diver duck. And
was it good?
It was fantastic.
Whoever the hell Jesse is,
he's a wizard.
Is a wizard. Well, that's great.
But he's a real chef.
Well, so Ryan Seacrest, he's like, hey man,
Ryan Seacrest, the radio guy,
my guy, yeah, at American Idol, and Seacrest goes, hey, I've got you need a light?
Yeah.
He goes, dude, I booked this at EMP 11 Madison Park, number one restaurant in downtown. Adam was. Ryan was taking me and Katie and Lionel to dinner, and I've never been to certainly the number one restaurant in the world. Well, they take us a tour of the kitchen, and dude, they have ducks, walls, because all of your French cuisine, the centerpiece is duck. That's like
duck fat. Right.
The ducks are
Yeah.
the real big part of
Foie gras.
French cuisine. Well, dude, I see all these ducks, and I'm like, what are y'all doing here? He goes, man, we're aging them. So they get these. Now they're getting they're getting farm-raised, organically grown ducks, and they age them with the guts in them.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard people do that with like pheasants too. You hang them by their neck.
The enzymes of the guts pull stuff out of the meat.
Well, it adds a flavor to it apparently.
And dude, man, I
But
ate
it
duck.
sketches me out.
Yeah. Well, here's the tricky part because, dude, I don't even know if I enjoyed my meal because I picked the chef's brain because I wanted to figure out a way to take my mallards and all my ducks I killed and age them properly. But what you do got to worry about is when you shoot them, you're shooting. It's good. The guts are going
Right.
through kind of in the meat a little bit, so that gets
If you shoot them, right?
Yeah,
right.
so,
That's different than an
I ain't got
organic
that
one.
good where I all headshot them yet, but
No, when these guys are aging them, what's the temperature in the room?
I think it's like a just above. They're not freezing them. I think it's however you would dry age a cow.
So like 40 degrees,
Probably
or something
40
like that?
degrees and 13, 15 days with the guts in them, and then.
Wow, 15 days with the guts in them. I've heard that people hang their pheasants until their heads fall off, and that's when they cut them up. Like, who figured that out? Like, who was the bold bastard?
It's
that
the
took
guy that ate the
15-day
guy
old
that ate the first oyster, right? You
guy
know,
who drank out of the puddle.
right? Yeah, and it is fascinating in pheasant, and when you look at pheasant and quail and chuckers and Hungarian partridge, now you're talking about the end all of wild game. In my opinion, the top of the.
That's what you like the most?
Well, I think when you look at the pheasants, they call them prairie chickens, and they're beautiful. The meat's a little wider and less gamier. So,
Have you had Sandhill crane?
yes, ribeye of the sky.
I haven't, but it's crazy to look at it. It does look like steak. It's a red meat, a deep red meat, and it's a bird.
And they're wild little creatures too, man. When you take your lab Sandhill crane hunting, you gotta fit them with goggles.
Because of poke our eyes out?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then I just got in a golf course property down in Florida, and we sold our beach house, and then we're kind of migrating to this place. And I fly down to the tour of the property, and I'm like, dude, what are y'all doing with all these Sandhill cranes? And they're like, what do you mean? It's like a golf course guy.
Right.
And I said, dude, that's the ribeye of the sky, bro. He's like, he looked it up, and you can't shoot Sandhill cranes in Florida.
What?
Dude, they are
Somebody call the governor.
everywhere.
Really?
Everywhere on this property.
You can't shoot Sandhill cranes in Florida, but you
Now-
can shoot alligators?
I unless they're lying to me because they're scared, I'm going to go like have a psychotic episode and go running out through the golf course with a guns.
Maybe it's just the area where you're at. You couldn't shoot.
They may be
Sandhill
protected
cranes.
in certain counties, but even in Tennessee, Florida Center protected under the
They're
federal.
protected under Federal Migratory Bird Treaty Act.
Look at that shit.
Wow. State rule, blah, blah, blah. Intentional feeding of Sandhill cranes is prohibited. So you can't hunt them. Wow, they're protected.
Well, in Tennessee, we have. In Tennessee, there's a couple guys that guide them, and I think it's a draw tag. You can put in to draw a Sandhill crane tag, and then, man, they make a very distinct something
Ooh.
like that. And dude, you can hear them, and I'll hear them coming over my farm. And God, if that's the wrong noise I just made, I'm gonna get.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna. You got
Have the
it.
sound? Whoa.
I love this guy. I need me one of. That's them.
Wow.
Now that's
Look at all of them.
Hear that?
Yeah. What a fucking cool animal. They sound like something from Avatar.
See those beaks?
Yeah.
Those are Labrador Retriever blinders right there.
How do you fasten the goggles on a dog?
Man, oh God, here he goes. Oh my gosh, this is like the
Jamie will find it.
Sandhill crane goggles for labs. This is gonna be great.
How does it secure on? I'm thinking about a dog's face.
I guess you've seen those dogs in those sidecars on the
motorcycles.
On the motorcycles, probably that rig. But
I don't think that's the same.
Yeah, that's like that's an aspen.
That's two dogs being silly.
Yeah. But so in Tennessee, you can hire a guy and he'll take you and they'll kind of get them coming in an area, and I think there you go.
Oh, there it goes.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's crazy.
Now, those look like, I think those are snow geese. So snow geese are probably the same.
Look at their goggles all scratched up, too.
Yeah. Crane hunt. No, those are Sandhills.
Wow, that's crazy. That. Dogs need to have their eyes protected.
Yeah, so when you got your golden, but man, if you get you a lab and beware of that because you will get hooked. You'll start.
Oh, I'm sure I would be. Also, I love duck. Duck's delicious.
Oh, on the grill, marinate it properly for a day or two. Plan on it.
That's what Jesse does. That's the difference.
You got to
that's why he does the diver
duck.
duck. I'm telling you, this diver duck was sensational.
Well, but that's what you got to watch in all wild game is, man, plan it,
preparation.
Get it marinated, and man, you just can't beat it.
Yeah, you got to know what you're cooking, how to cook it, especially if you're cooking something that has low body fat. You got to make sure you cook it nice and slow.
Right.
You know, that's one of the great things about things like a Traeger. And you can just set it for 265.
Best thing in the world.
Leave it. The new one's fantastic too. It's just everything comes out so smoky and delicious. And if you know what you're doing.
My dad, 4th of July, I think he was drunk and hated us on 4th of July because he stayed up smoking the Boston Bud every night. I remember my dad, man. He'd have that old charbroil out there, and he'd get up with his vinegar and all this shit, and he would wake up all night, night before the 4th, and smoke them butts, man. And now you just walk out, put that thing on 220 at about 8 p.m., wake up at 8 a.m. and
the app tells you if you're low on pellets.
I know. It's like, what are we doing here?
It's crazy. It's so much easier. There's something that men are attracted to, like cooking over wood, though, like an actual fire.
Well, and we're in the heart of it in Texas, right here. I mean, these guys take a damn, they
propane tanks.
They glue 4 propane tanks together and have a smokestack. And the guy that what's our guy that does our charity event? Oh my God, I can't believe I'll come up with him. But Mark, text me Meat Church. Have you met the Meat Church dude?
I've met that dude. Yeah,
he comes and
he's got some awesome rubs.
He's got all that, but then what's funny is he pulled up to our charity event with his big smoker, and man, I'm like, this is like Elon Musk style engineering on this thing. It's pretty, and man, they get out there and they'll look at me and you doing Traegers, and that's about like us. That's our version of having a tutu on.
It is funny because people want to do it all themselves. The offset smokers. Like, have you ever gone to Terry Black's here and see the lines of the offset smokers? Terry Black's is the #1 barbecue place in the country, probably in the world. They cook more volume of barbecue than anywhere else on the country. And they have just line after line of these giant propane tank smokers with just briskets and beef ribs and spare ribs.
See, when I moved to Nashville, being a South Georgia boy, I'd never even heard of brisket.
Really?
We only knew pork barbecue. And it's just, so when I moved to Nashville, and then like there's some dude there with a Texas brisket restaurant in Nashville, I'm like, what are they talking about brisket? And this was 2001, I moved to Nashville. This is how insulated you could be in your own, as we talk about the ways of the world changing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, dude, I lived in a section, and everybody, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, brisket was like...
I think brisket was originally a German thing. I think it was like with the sausages. Like there was cuts of the meat. Well, the smoker thing came certainly from German immigrants that came to Texas. That's where the origin of the barbecue out here is.
And then the
brisket was like cuts that nobody else wanted.
Right.
So they figured out a way to take these cuts that nobody else wanted and turn them into something delicious. They just had to do it over time, and now it's like a preferred cut. If you go to Terry Black's, the brisket's sensational.
And they're probably cooking, the preferred cuts of like which cut of the brisket would you like, not the old flank meat down there. You know, you can probably get the ribeye and all that.
I think it's all just how long you cook it for.
Yeah.
How you do it, what temperature, and they wrap it and then they unwrap it and they spray it. Like they have it down to a science. And then at the end, it's like the key is you want to be able to fold it over your finger and not have it break apart. Just get it to just where it folds over. And
See, our deal was just always smoke a big pig. You know, smoke a pig.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not the ones big as this table, but you know about that long.
100-pounder.
Yeah. And walk up there on the family reunion, and all the women were grossed out because you know you're just pulling the big pig. You know, you can pull that meat off a pig. It's like that. So, God, we're getting hungry, Joe.
I know. That's the good thing about wild pigs too. So they're always available to hunt. Like one of the great things about Texas, it's not good if you're on a ranch or if you have a farm, but if you're a person who wants to hunt, you can hunt wild pigs 365 days a year and always have sausage.
Our place in me and my best friend, we've got a quail hunting place down in the heart of South Georgia, tons of swamps. Dude, we were, which you know all the math, and I'm sure you've brought it up on how many sow pigs they'll kick off 30 pigs a year annually.
They can, yeah.
And then we would have them roll through our front yard, $30,000 of damage a night.
Yeah.
And for anybody out there listening, if you have this going on, we mounted lights in all the trees around our whole lodge, and you flip them lights on, and we hadn't had one wild hog root up our yard since.
Really?
They will not come around those lights. It's a great tactic.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and when somebody told him, some good old boy told him, and he was like, "Man, we'll try anything," because you would walk out there and it looked like 300 landmines went off. And the night before, our yard looked like Augusta.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, they're bad little dudes now.
They do a lot of damage. I mean, in Texas alone, it's millions and millions of dollars of damage of crops every year. They shoot them out of helicopters here. You ever done any of that? Have you?
It is. Man, it is.
It's the most unfair type of hunting that's ever existed.
Man,
Forget about high fence.
I don't know. My children, I took my boys, and somewhere there's I hope he doesn't hear it, but there's a Navy SEAL Marine recruiter, because my sons are ready for warfare after doing that. I'm like, but the guy that we took, he's got a big, beautiful high fence, and if you fly around, and man, you can, he has to thin them out every year.
Yeah, you have to.
But it's so fun doing it out of a helicopter. You don't want to thin them all out because you just keep wanting to, do it a little bit. But
yeah.
But it's you hadn't done that yet?
No, I'm still. I just mostly bow hunt them.
Well, the. Our pig stuff in Georgia, man, it's fun because you can go on a deer hunt, you can shoot some deer with a bow, and then we'll take a rifle, and late in the evening the hogs will come out, and I
know a lot of guys shoot them at nighttime too.
Yeah, and then
with thermals.
We have guys with the big, trap doors that trap them and stuff like that. So, I mean, they're probably the number one, wildlife. I never will forget. Right when like maybe iPhones come out and you get your iPhone news updates, and then I never even knew what the magazine like the New Yorker was, or like the Guardian and all those things. Well, the New Yorker, I'm scrolling through and I see feral pigs, and it was this huge article done by a guy, maybe the editor of the New Yorker. Man, he did a great job with that article and just went through. And this was 15 years ago. I read that article about, the feral hog problems, and you would think I would think the New Yorker leans quite left, but the fact that this guy wrote the article from a perspective of huge problem need to be dealt with was pretty badass take on it. So
well, once people see the sheer numbers, they're so overwhelming that you go, wait a minute, how are you going to stop this? How are you going to stop it from multiplying continually every year? Well, you're not. You're not. There's places that you're not going to get to them. There's too many
in
of
Georgia and these swampy deals, you can't. You can't helicopter them there. So that's when you get these old boys with their dogs and they run off in the
That'll help. But even then,
so Joe, here's another thing. You think about this. So when I start my high fence, the year that I started it, our turkey population in Tennessee, which it's been going through hell, and you'll hear this. The turkey population in Tennessee was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I mean, eastern turkey hunting, one of the most beautiful things in the wildlife that the state of Tennessee has. And my turkey population is amazing and still is, but we hired a guy and he put 110 traps out. 110. And night one had over 100 varmints, coons, possums, armadillos in the traps night one.
So they're just killing all the turkeys.
They eat the eggs.
Yeah.
A turkey lays 12 to 14 eggs. Now, listen, I found this out this year. This is going. I hope if I can get a couple nuggets that you hadn't learned yet, that's kind of the goal for the day. So, a turkey does not lay their eggs all at the same time.
Really?
They lay their eggs one day at a time. They lay it next to a water source. They go to the water source, hold the water in their mouth, drip the water on the eggs periodically, using the water to hatch them at the same time. Because a hen turkey, if she had to hatch, all the eggs hatch at the same time. But if she had to hatch them for 12 days, she could never keep them corralled properly.
Oh.
So she manipulates with water. And if I'm wrong, now this is a biologist that told me this. I heard this year. Totally blew my mind. So in the nest, and I've walked up on them, they got 12 or 13 of them sitting there beautifully. And whatever that hen does, she manages those eggs to hatch at the same time.
Wow.
And maybe, now like a tortoise, I guess, or a beach turtle or whatever, I think they spit them all out that night, but a hen turkey does not. Well, so one armadillo rolls by that nest.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. She just lost them all. And so there was a big study that went on in Tennessee about the decline of the turkey population.
So what do they do about that? They try to hunt
first
the
of all,
varmints?
well, trapping now is so rare. Trapping. The art of trapping has gone down quite a bit, and the arm of and I'm not even bringing up coyotes in Tennessee, but so yeah, if they can loosen up, Tennessee can loosen up their trapping laws and make it more available, and you just got to thin out those, armadillos in Tennessee. You would have never, man, we woke up and we can ride around and shoot 30 a night.
Really?
Armadillos, 30.
Don't they carry like crazy?
Man, I wouldn't recommend touching them. They say they do, but that
people eat them.
I've never heard of that, but you probably can find.
They definitely eat raccoons.
They definitely eat raccoons, and definitely I don't know about possums, but if you're eating a possum, your ass is hungry.
You're very hungry.
But raccoons, in Georgia where we grew up, had several old timers. Man, they'd get them a coon, and it was always a kind of a party deal. What
does raccoon taste like?
I never. Well, we got an old buddy down there. He's like, you know what bald eagle tastes like? Owl. So I guess you could say raccoon. I had a buddy of mine tell a game warden that joke. It didn't go over well. So. But
there's a lot of shit that people eat that people would go, what?
Yeah, when you're talking about, I saw somebody do the pig deal with a full gator.
Oh, I've seen that before.
And I hadn't done that. I've had gator tail, but I hadn't had.
Yeah, they'll take a giant smoker and put a gator
in
there.
Put the whole thing on.
Yeah,
there. And they skin it and all that.
Put an apple in its mouth.
Yeah. You know what's crazy in Georgia? There's a place rural. So all the chicken farms down there, huge chicken farms, all of them. Well, what do you do with the chicken carcasses? Well, I mean, there's a lot that used to grind them up and feed them back to the chickens, but some of them they feed them to gator farms.
Oh wow!
They put them in a limb shredder.
Oh wow!
And now you talk about the most foul smell on the planet. Ugh. Go into a gator farm warehouse. Oh. Joe, buddy,
just rot.
Nothing can replicate. Maybe the Surströmming challenge can the whole Surströmming joke thing. But
what's that?
You've seen where the guys pop the lid on the Swedish fish?
No.
Oh, Joe, Surströmming.
What is it?
Oh, we did it at our deer camp. It's like an aged Swedish fish that's rotten in a can.
It's aged
for years, like a sardine. And so, yeah, the Surströmming challenge.
Look at this guy's face.
Dude, we popped that thing.
So people fish with them? They use it for bait, like for catfish or something?
People eat that.
Oh, foul.
And if you can stay in the room with it.
Have you tried it?
Dude, I was outside 15 yards from it, throwing up in the flower bed.
All right, we got to order some, Jamie. Order some.
I'm glad I didn't get you.
We might eat it on Fight Companion.
But
well, Denver's they're on the verge of passing a no fur law. So if Denver passes a no fur law, what are they going to do about cowboy hats that have beaver skin lining? And then if you're going to say no fur, how are you going to say no fur, but you're allowing leather? So skin is okay as long as you take the furry part off. Is the furry part what's offensive? You know, if you know what you'd fucking the chaos that would ensue if you outlawed leather. Everybody's belt is illegal. Everybody's shoes are illegal. Air Jordans are illegal.
And they're calling it illegal.
Illegal. Yeah, they're trying to pass a law. They're trying to pass a law where they ban fur.
Sorry.
No worries. They've done it before. I mean, they've done it in other places.
Where does it, like I said, where does it, Joe, I'm out with
It just keeps going. That's the problem.
When I'm in American Idol.
It never fucking ends.
When I'm at no, it never ends.
It's never going to end. They're going to keep pushing. It'll get to you can't eat meat. It'll get to it has to be lab-grown meat. It could get as crazy as you could ever imagine. There's animal rights people that would like to push it in that direction. And you would have never thought that this would be possible, but you would have never thought that you would have biological males competing against females in high school sports. And that's everywhere. And if you complain against that, you're a bigot. You're seeing the craziest of crazy thinking. There's people that think that pedophiles are minor attracted persons. And they'll talk about this as university professors teaching classes. It's been recorded. People have seen it. It's not everywhere, but it's enough where you go, I see where this goes if it keeps going. Because none of this shit existed 20 years ago. You go back to 2004, there was none of this shit. Nothing. A transgender person was a rare person with gender dysphoria. It was very rare. And there wasn't a lot of hatred towards those people. It wasn't a thing that people worried about. Now there is, because everybody's like, what the fuck? Why is this in schools? Why are you having them? There was a recent pool tournament where it was a women's pool tournament. And in the semifinals, it's two trans women competing against each other. Two biological men that wear lipstick competing against each other in a women's tournament. It's fucking crazy. So I would have never thought that would be possible. So it can get to a point where there's no meat. It can get to the point where there's this demonization of meat. You keep hearing about it all the time. Meat is the number one source of carbon. It's fucking complete total horse shit. It's not even number 2. It's not number 3. It's not even fucking close.
Cow farts.
Yeah, it's the dumbest shit ever. And by the way, all of that is factory farming. Regenerative farming is actually carbon neutral. If they don't sequester carbon, it's actually good for carbon. There's a whole reason why there's a balanced ecosystem of cows eating grass and the grass fermenting in their stomach and them creating manure and that
regenerates.
Yes, regenerates. It's carbon neutral. It's actually good for the environment and everything feeds off everything. There's a system that nature has evolved for millions of years. That's the normal way it's supposed to be done. And, we're just living in a crazy time.
Well, yeah, when you think of Denver and Colorado and the outdoors, man, you got to appreciate everybody's opinion of, you know, I mean, it's a so old term, the granolaist,
Yeah.
but it ain't granola no more. I mean, it's
They're getting a lot further than granola. Granola used to be normal until they see, the thing is, those people were weird and rare, and they were tolerated. But then they got online, and say if there's only 10 of them in this town and 5 of them in that town, well, now there's hundreds of thousands of them collectively in the country, all as a group. And then they think that they're activists. So they think that they're doing something good. So then they start saying things like, no fur in Colorado, pass this bill. And you start saying, no meat, no more meat, no one should have meat. Okay, all right. What are you going to do with these cows? What are you going to do? You're going to go around castrating all those bulls? What are you going to do? How are you going to control the populations? Are you going to let them go extinct? Are you going to castrate all the bulls? Or are you going to let some of them breed? How are you going to make this distinction? Are you going to bring in wolves to handle them? What are you going to do? What the fuck are you going to do? What are you going to do with all those people that work at the butcher shop? What are you going to do with all those people that work at the meat processing plant? What are you going to do with all those people that have been transporting meat back and forth? What do you do with all those jobs, all those families, all their income, all their businesses that they've had for 100 fucking years? What are you going to do with that? These people have like the most minimal understanding of the system that they're trying to influence. They don't know what the fuck they're doing by releasing wolves. They think wolves are beautiful. Yay! You see the governor? He's releasing the wolves. He's like, yay! He's like so happy.
Yeah, they're gonna be saying yay when they're damn. I don't know, dude.
The dogs are getting eaten.
Everything.
Yeah.
Dude, let me tell you something.
Well, not only that, they brought in wolves that had a history of killing cattle. The wolves they brought into Colorado.
It's no different than the grizzly focusing on humans. And man, I live just south of Nashville. We got 180 acres. I've got neighborhoods all around us, man. About every now and then, email goes out. Little Fluffy's gone.
Coyotes?
We put 6 coyote traps out on my farm one night. 6 for 6.
Wow.
And let me tell you what else is a little vicious son of a bitch. A fucking otter.
Oh, yeah. Otters will fuck you up.
Let me tell you, buddy, those things are... I mean, Joe, I'm so, like I said, my brain is bass fishing and all this stuff. Man, we'll have otters come up into my bass pond.
And fuck those bass up.
I'm talking about they're fucking gone, the fish, in 3 nights. The fish are gone. And the otters eat one and play with the other ones that they kill.
Wow.
And like you go by my lake, like I have an all-female bass lake at my house, which this is a whole nother fun deal. They will roll through there and eat my all-females and just throw them up on the bank. There's carcasses. There's
like how many?
Oh, you get 4 otters in your pond on a 17-acre lake. They'll eat 20 bass a night. And the problem is you don't know you've been got
until it's too late.
Till you've been got.
Wow.
And so, Joe, to grow a 10-pound bass is about $3,000. And think about it, I've been loving on these damn fish. I've been walking out there, making sure they're happy so we can all catch them. And yeah, look at them. And then them damn otters roll. So if you have an overflow, a spillway on your farm, and it runs through your farm and dumps into a major river body of water, and that otter swims by that water, dumping in that river, he is up that river. He's up that spillway into your lake, and he has got you.
Wow.
And we'll put traps out, dude, and man, they just keep coming.
Wow.
Keep coming. And I'm talking about otter pelts. I mean, like the prettiest thing you've ever seen.
So do you turn them into coats or anything?
We've got enough where, we've got them skinned out in freezers and rolled up in our freezers, and my farm guys, I think but the sad part is the market for that should be an amazing market, but I think because everybody's scared to say they got a damn otter pelt.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, fur's got a bad name. If it's got hair on it, leather's fine.
None of it's fine.
But leather's fine with people. No one has a problem with you wearing cowboy boots. Nobody gets mad. Yeah, see?
Look at that.
Leather. Nobody gets mad at leather. All that is fur with no fucking hair on it. It's the same thing. It's weird.
But damn otters, man, them little rascals, you know, they I'm building a lake at my place in Georgia, and it's right on the Flint River.
You're running wildlife management.
I
You
love
really
it, man.
are.
It's so fun. It's so damn fun. Like it's 4 hours of my day.
And it also cleanses your mind, right?
Totally.
Just
It
like
is-
hunting.
It's totally, and it is not for myself. You can't. My enjoyment is to watch the kid, my buddies, my children's friends come enjoy it too.
Yeah.
You know, my sons will bring a buddy home from school, and next thing you know, Tate and his 13-year-old buddy are shooting bows in the front yard all weekend, and this kid, who doesn't have a dad that hunts or has the ability, next thing you know, I got one kid, my Tate's buddy James, his 8th consecutive weekend at my house hunting, just loving life, shooting bow and arrows.
Did
And
you
so
show him how to shoot correctly?
got him dialed in. He shot his first doe this weekend.
Nice.
Just so fun. And so you know, when you meet these guys that they don't let anybody else enjoy it, I don't like those guys either.
Yeah.
And you know, I love to enjoy it with people, but yeah, the bass fishing thing's a blast. But my lake in Georgia, it's going to be about 35 acres, and I think we'll do an all-female lake down there.
Why all female?
So
That way they can't breed.
your females are your trophy bass.
Right, the big fat ones.
The big fat ones.
But don't they have to get pregnant to be really big and
Well,
fat?
You put them in, and if you don't, they don't have to be pregnant. Well, they just have to have the big eggs, and when they lay them, they just have to have
I get
a
it.
male
so they
not
have the
fertilize
eggs.
them.
That's right. Of course.
So if you get a male in there, then then you have a natural thriving.
He'll eat the babies too, though, right?
A male bass will forage on themselves.
Yeah.
And but male bass. Now I have 3 lakes that are naturally their own ecosystem, where we have to. You know, I've got an 82-acre bass lake that we have to catch 3,500 pounds of bass a year just to keep them from not choking themselves out.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's
3,500
pounds.
So what do you do? Just call your friends?
Dude, we have bass roundups, and we get out there and we catch them, and we'll load up coolers and take them into the little towns and give them, give them to people. And I mean, it becomes a problem.
It's a weird thing with largemouth bass too, because a lot of people don't eat them, and yet they're delicious.
They're good. They're great.
Yeah.
They're great.
They're basically the same as bluegills.
Well,
Real close.
bluegills, like all the bluegills at my lake we feed them pellet food, so they'll get big, so the bass will eat them, so the bass will get big. And you don't want to go eat a bluegill
On
that's been
pellets?
parked under a pellet.
Yeah.
But a little wild bluegill stream or a little natural creek where I grew up in Georgia, like shell crackers and bluegill that eat like a cricket or that are eating live stuff. You fillet one of them real small creek or river bluegills.
Fry them up.
Oh, nothing better in the world.
Yeah.
And then
bass is similar to that.
Oh, bass!
It's
If
a
you
nice
get
flaky white meat.
flaky white meat, get you a 3 or 4 pound bass, fillet it like a red snapper.
But people like catching them so much, they want you to release them.
We spent our whole life. My dad would catch bass. We would fillet them. He'd put them in a Pyrex dish, saute them, bake them, and then broil them on top. And we'd eat largemouth bass. You could either have salmon croquettes that stink up the whole house, or you knew your mama was cooking them, or you can have fresh bass. So we grew up.
But isn't it a weird animal, or weird fish rather, that a lot of people don't eat, but it's good to eat?
You wouldn't want everybody fishing your big reservoirs. Like Texas is the best big Bass Lake reservoir state
Right.
in the country. You wouldn't want everybody out there keeping them. You want to practice. You want to practice catch and release on your big public reservoirs.
Right.
But when you've got a private impoundment where, you want to keep your bass, because your bass, you'll wake up. Let's let's just say you've got a nice brand new bass lake you built, 10 acres. You stock it. You spend $50,000 to put your bluegill, your all your fish in there. Well, then you just don't ever catch them. Well, then in 5 years you've lost it.
Right. You have to manage it.
Yeah, you're done. Your lake's done. Your 3-pound bass didn't have enough fish to get to 4 pounds, and then he missed a year of growing, or she missed a year of growing, and then you just put a $50,000 investment in your bass lake, and then you're out.
Right.
You might as well drain it, start over.
You know what I'd really like to do? Get a place in the north and have a lake with pike in it. I think they might be my favorite thing to catch because they're so ruthless. That's such a ruthless fish.
Animal.
Fucking dinosaur.
A killer.
They look like dinosaurs. First time I caught a pike, I'm like, why isn't this like the most exciting thing to catch? They fight hard.
Or a muskie. Jesus.
I've never caught one of those.
Me either.
That's the fish of 10,000 casts.
Yeah. See, I'm not that dude. Now I'll wait and hunt a. You know, I'm not a like I don't have to have the biggest, best animal my whole life. Like I don't roll. You know, some people they're like
they get into numbers. They're size queens.
Or score. I'm not that guy. I'm inexperienced. Let's have fun. Let's see a lot of animals. Let's catch a lot of fish. Let's keep a lot of action.
Yeah.
Let's keep the kids engaged.
Yeah.
You know, like when my boys were, when my boys were 4 and 5, I'd take them. You don't want to take them out there on their first 3 bass fishing trips, and you burn them in the hot sun, and they catch 1 fish. Right. You want them engaged and get them going. But pike and all that steelheading, that northwest steelheading, catching 1, man, I don't. That's just I hadn't done that. I can't do that.
That's a release fish too, right? Don't they release?
those are high on the list of, especially like sea run steelheads. Mm-hmm. You know, you have some that are kind of locked in. Locked in the reservoir locked. Mm-hmm. But you get those big sea run steelheads, and they really hold them, and they should hold them in high regard. You shouldn't. You need to leave those alone and let them come and go. Yeah,
but then why are you catching them? You know what I'm saying? Why are you fucking with those fish? Because it's a little bit of that. I get it. It's fun. I'm not opposed to it. I get it. But if I catch fish, I like to eat them. That's the whole reason why I'm catching fish.
See that? Yeah, you know what?
That's why I like to catch walleye.
I would still say you're in the majority.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's how it should be. I mean, imagine if you just run around shooting deer with tranquilizer darts. Like, I got them.
Well,
weird. A little weird.
Yeah, I've
just
seen
to prove that you did it.
And then they make bumper tips on bows. You can doink deer in the ass and run them off, and not and they're like, why are you doinking a deer in the ass?
It's a little weird. Well, it's like they make those club heads so you can shoot squirrels and birds.
Yeah. Man, listen, dude. I grew up, my little town of Leesburg. Man, I mean, every year I got a pellet gun for Christmas. And I got a full camo onesie or a coverall, and dude, I'd put my new pair of Chippewa hunting boots. I'd put my new set of coveralls on with the camo pattern. I'd hit the neighborhood walking around with a pellet gun shooting the neighbor squirrels. And we'd eat them. We'd eat them every now and then. This little old lady, Mabel Coxwell, we'd skin them and she'd fry them with some wild rice. And
they taste good.
If you cook a squirrel and do it right, man, it ain't nothing wrong with a squirrel.
Isn't that crazy that most people don't know that?
Right.
Squirrels are delicious. Squirrel hunting is like very popular in parts of the South.
Squirrel dumplings. Yeah. Instead of chicken and dumplings, squirrel dumplings. Oh. You get a squirrel and clean it right and brine it for the night and cook it with dumplings and put some onions and celery and all that, and you're off to the races.
People think of them, they have like fluffy tail privilege.
Rats with tails.
Because you see a rat. Rats have those slimy tails, and people are like, that's disgusting. And they see that fluffy tail like, oh, so cute. Not much different.
Well, the fact that, I could run rampant with at 9 years old through the neighborhood riding my Honda 50 motorcycle, through people's backyards, chasing squirrels, and everybody's like, "Thank you, that damn thing's been in my attic, chewing up my Pink Panther insulation for."
That's rural life, right? That's rural people. Well, that's people that understand what's going on.
Yeah,
that's the difference between if you did that in a neighborhood in Manhattan, people are like, "What the fuck is this guy doing? We need these squirrels." If they caught you in Central Park with a pellet gun, you'd go to jail.
First round ticket. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
If you break into a store and rob it, nothing will happen to you. They'll let you right out. But if you get caught in Central Park shooting squirrels and eating them, you're gonna get in real trouble. It's wild. We live in a wild world. It's a very strange, distorted version of what human beings have been experiencing for most of history.
No, I mean, nothing is wrong with hunting a little bit.
Especially when 95% of the world eats meat. Yeah. It's a stupid argument.
Well, and I think it's all trendy too. I think the beauty is now with the education of, you look at how great, carnivore diets are being, I've never done like a big old carnivore. Have you ever done a big carnivore?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did it change your life?
Oh, yeah, that's mostly how I eat.
Great.
I eat fruit and meat.
Great.
99%. I fuck around. Like, my daughter likes to cook cookies. I had a big-ass cookie the other day. It was awesome. I mean, I'm not ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'll eat other things. I'm not religious about it. But most of my diet, like 90%, is just meat and occasionally fruit. Fruit before I work out. Fruit sometimes after I work out. But mostly it's just meat.
Well, like I said, the best thing about what you do here is you give everybody their platform to talk about their way.
Yeah.
And your platform has enlightened me. I mean, dude, I've never, I was around some dude that was talking about, microdosing mushrooms and all that. Dude, I never saw a drug. I never saw a drug until I was 30.
Did you see moonshine?
Saw moonshine a lot.
That's a drug.
Well,
that is a fucking drug.
Yeah. Well, and you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
you drink a half jar of Mason.
Oh yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about alcohol is
It gets the pass.
We are having nicotine right now. This is a drug.
And when I have these,
It's a nice cigar, by the way.
it's perfect.
It's very good, very mild.
And man, when I was 39 years old before I did any tobacco.
Really?
Never dipped. My dad kept Levi Garrett, Taylor's Pride. The only time he wasn't chewing meant he had a life insurance policy. He had to get blood work and didn't want to fail his life insurance policy. But I was 39. My mom, my mom's a character. She, but never did tobacco, never dip. I put one dip in one time and threw up outside my high school. This old boy threw me a dip in, and dude, big old Kodiak, and I threw up outside the high school gymnasium and missed my 5th and 6th period, and I was like, dude, I don't need that.
You remember those bricks, those squares of chewing tobacco? You bite a chunk off?
All the old, and well, what I was getting at is I was sitting, we were celebrating an album release. I was 39 years old, and one of my best buddies brought a nice Davidoff Churchill cigar. And any cigar I'd ever done, now I had smoked a cigar like in Vegas, and most time back then, I done drank a handle of Crown and smoked a cigar, and you wake up the next morning, you're like, your life's over, essentially. Well, it's probably the handle of Crown.
Right.
Well, we smoked that cigar, and I sat in my rocking chair and just smoked that cigar, and I was like, man,
it's kind of nice.
This is kind of like therapy right here.
All these people smoking cigars aren't stupid. There's got to be something to it.
And they're chilled out.
Yeah.
It's
a nice conversational thing
they
to
are
do.
Chilled. They are universally chilled out.
But it's a drug.
Oh,
it's a drug.
Yeah,
It's a drug. We're drinking coffee. That's a drug. The problem is there's a lot of drugs, and some of them are really fucking bad for you.
Here's the deal. I'll call my buddy every now and then and he was my buddy that bought me the cigar. He was a lifelong Copenhagen and cigarettes here and quitting, and I'll call him periodically, and I'm like, You asshole. I'm stopping at a random cigar shop. I've gone 4 days without a cigar, and I'm riding down the road, and I determined right now I need one. You weave across 4 lanes of traffic, find and then next thing you know, you're smoking a grocery store, a gas station cigar but hey, it keeps the head clean.
I like them. I like I said, I think it's one of the best things.
And
for
I don't think you need to
conversations.
smoke 12 of them a day.
No.
You know?
No, I don't think so either. But I know people who do. I know people who just go one to the other. They just chain smoke cigars.
Yeah. Now my mother, dude, Salem Ultralight 100s, 3 packs a day.
Whoa.
Four Bud Lights a day her whole life. 4 Bud Lights.
Every day. Is she still with us?
She's with us.
Damn, that's the thing that always gets people.
Dude.
Where they're like, maybe I should quit. Hold on.
Well,
Look at Luke's mom.
Listen, my mom, man, dude, she's curbed the beer. She's curbed the beer a little bit, but she'll drink her a couple O'Douls, but she's gonna have her 1 or 2 Bud Lights
Every day.
every day. She's gonna 3 packs. She's like a. It's like if she's walking into to Dillard's or to the TJ Maxx, she's like, "Oh my God, I'm walking in."
Take a couple of puffs.
Take a couple and hit, litter the parking lot. But she'll pan fry a ribeye in butter. Pan fries a ribeye.
That's probably what's keeping her alive.
Pan fries a ribeye, fries some shoestring French fries, and that's her damn meal 4 to 5 nights a week. 76 glorious years.
That's probably why she's healthy.
And is ready to chew my ass out at any moment.
And how many cigarettes do you think she's down to a day?
I hope she's probably at a pack and a half. But man, when you do the math, when I used to sit her down and do math, her and my dad were married 32 years and divorced, and so when she went out kind of on her own, I'd sit her down and do the math on 4 Bud Lights, 2.5 packs of Salem's, and 4 pan-fried ribeyes. That becomes a damn number annually.
I think the ribeyes are fine. Leave her alone with the ribeyes.
You know what? But through the years, I've gotten Miller Lite endorsements. I would get Miller Lite. I'd be like, Mama, there's a Miller Lite truck pulling up to your house. It's going to deliver you a pallet of Miller Lite. Just try. Just try to fall in love with Miller Lite.
Right?
But nope.
Bud Light.
I'd get home 2 months after the pallet got there. There the pallet sits. Calling my buddies, hey boys.
A lot of people had like a personal crisis when there was that Bud Light boycott. There was a lot of people like, I don't know what to do. When Kid Rock shot that Bud Light.
And then he kept selling it in his bar.
We drank some on the podcast we did together.
Yeah, and I
he
love
let it go
him.
after a while.
He did. I love him. He's been a damn good buddy of mine and has come to my charity event.
He's a wild boy.
He's awesome.
I love that dude.
He's
a lot of fun.
He's awesome. But when I saw him do that, I was like,
oof. Imagine being the CEO of Bud Light and seeing that. You're like, oh no. Kid Rock just shot our beer.
With a fucking automatic.
And was like, fuck Anheuser-Busch, like, no! And, I mean, that alone probably cost them billions of dollars. Just having him do that.
When our beer is political, we're like...
Not just our beer, but Bud Light. Bud Light, the beer that sponsored more boxing matches, more sporting events, more people have been drinking Bud Light. I mean, think about all the people who swear by Bud Light. Post Malone's always drinking Bud Light.
And then, my wife's dad is a Budweiser fucking 12-pack a day dude, man. And, he had to hear a little shit from his buddies about it. But
people get in fights in bars. I have a friend who owned a bar. We stopped carrying at the mothership because nobody was buying it. We stopped carrying Bud Light because nobody was buying Bud Light.
Have we checked on where
it's come back
fully?
No, I don't think so. I think there's a bunch of holdouts that are always going to go, fuck those liberals forever. Yeah. But the lady who came up with the idea is gone. Like the whole marketing team behind, they're all gone. Anheuser-Busch is an American company that has employed American people forever. It's a great company. They just fucked up. They get caught up in the mind virus.
Anheuser-Busch taught us that beer is wonderful for Christmas, and Clydesdales and Dalmatians are the equivalent of Jesus and Christmas.
Well, remember those Bud Light guys, the Real American Genius guys? Remember
Yeah,
that? Remember
Real
that? American Genius. They had great commercials.
Dude, I would cry over the Dalmatian Clydesdale commercial. You remember when the little puppy?
Yeah.
He's riding on the Clydesdales. And
Find that, Jamie.
Oh,
Find that
shit. It's like a friggin' Hallmark.
You would never think that company could get taken down. But I think that was good. It was bad for Bud Light, but I think it was good. Here it is. Let's see it. We're going to get all sweet.
Here we go. Oh, don't.
Oh, the little puppy.
Listen to that music.
Oh, little puppy got out. Oh, poor puppy's lost.
This is for beer.
This is for beer?
Yeah.
Poor little puppy.
Wow, what a commercial. We need to find,
Wolves.
God, wolves, they're in Colorado.
The horses saved the puppy from the wolves. Have a bud. Very effective commercial, you know? Real quick. You're happy.
Well, yeah, and then there's the one where it's the Dalmatian, too, that grew up and then got to the old Dalmatian and the little, they're riding and the young Dalmatian sees the old Dalmatian, and I think the old Dalmatian kicks the bucket, and then the new Dalmatian takes its place, and then you're like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Well,
And that company got taken out by having a transgender woman on their can. But it just shows you how prevalent this whole mind virus is, that it even got into Bud Light, which is just bizarre. But the lady who's responsible for it all basically shit on the entire customer base, saying that they have a fratty sense of humor and we need to update it and make it more inclusive. And like, do you know what you're saying? You're alienating all the people that buy it and love it and counting on people who don't buy it and love it to start buying it and loving it. And maybe that'll work. But you just alienated everybody who buys it and love it. It's the dumbest poker move of all time.
the worst.
The
worst
dumbest
ever.
move.
Well, when you look at country music, too, with country music, it is what it is. There's things that it is. And you gotta love on what it is. And then you gotta grow it, too. There's sensible ways to grow it.
But it has to be up to the artist to just express themselves honestly. And if the artist is a country artist that has a different perspective, let that be. But leave all the rest of it the way it is too.
Buddy, with every successful music artist that's ever lived, they may have faked you out. Any genre, but country's tough. Because once you show any unauthenticity,
yeah,
buddy, you're done. You're done.
I can imagine.
Like, dude,
yeah.
Like, dude, my biggest, I got, my thing was tight jeans. You wouldn't imagine me wearing tight jeans on stage. How much that pisses people off.
Well, it's because you're handsome. That's part of the problem. You're a good-looking guy up there with tight jeans.
Shaking ass.
Shaking that ass, showing that bulge. Get out of here.
Dude, and then I'm like...
Bring back Merle Haggard. What the fuck is this?
So, Joe, one thing, my biggest hurdle ever in my career, and it still breaks my heart to this day. Back when your only way to make it in music is you've got to stop people's eyeballs on you. You got to grab them vocally, visually, musically different. You got to get them to stop for 2 seconds and go, what is that? What is that fucker doing right there? And when I came out with Country Girl Shake It For Me on the CMAs shaking my ass, I mean, I had to do it that way. In my opinion, I had to go, this is my moment to show Country Girl Shake It For Me, and I'm the guy that dances and don't give a damn, and let's have some fun and come along for the ride. And it was amazing. It was amazing. You know, the fact that I'm a Georgia boy at the time, and I was talking to Texas people, I was talking to everybody. Well, then at some point, a label for me became Bro Country. Had you ever even heard that term?
I did because of you. Yeah.
Well, so I heard it, and I'm like, well, Bro Country. Well, then I started seeing the people making fun of Bro Country, and I'm like, well, this is kind of fucking pissing me off. and then me and some other artists start getting looped into this Bro Country phase. Well, when I was in my form of coming up as an artist, and I don't even know we don't have to live on this long, but you'll be amazed, dude. So I would go play. I made my way by going to Georgia and playing Georgia college towns in the Southeast, and even I played Auburn a little bit, Auburn, Alabama, and that school. I always wanted to break into Auburn and Tuscaloosa because I was always a Georgia artist. Well, I started branching out. Well, dude, I'd get done with a college party. I'd walk off stage. The first thing that would happen is, 369, damn, she fine. Give it to me one more time. Get low. I mean, and right when my set got done, hip hop, the vibe went to a nightclub, and I done walked off the stage, went to the bar, ordered the beer, and watched everybody that just let me play Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, all the classics, my couple of new songs, and I was like, well, man, nobody's got a fucking problem with this. This is we're all together in this good time. So when I did Country Girl Shake It For Me, that made that tie.
Crossover. It combined them.
It made it tie to a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Jason Aldean had his She's Country, fucking biggest song. When I heard, at the time when Jason and I are buddies, he does She's Country, I do Country Girl Shake It For Me, and me and him are like, we're like, this shit, our lives are, I toured with Jason one year, and he broke all of Elvis's indoor records. We did it for 2 years. I was the opener, and Jason was the headliner, and people, and rap was, we were playing rap before the show, and everybody was in, well, then Bro Country comes along. Dude, I wake up on the bus one morning and I got this interview. Sitting there drinking my coffee in my fucking underwear, and this dude calls me with Hits Magazine. And he goes, well, Luke, man, this Bro Country thing. And I said, well hold up, buddy. Here's what this is. And I said, and man, I did this, and I made one fatal error. And at the time, Joe, no one hated my ass. I believe that. Because I was coming to Billy Bob's, playing. I had Texas. I had I'd go to Bozeman, Montana, and play Country Girl Shake It For Me. I'd go to everywhere. Well, and I said, man, I don't know how to be an outlaw. I'm not an outlaw. I'm a college dude that played frat parties with country music. I was like, I fucking did not go sit in a prison cell like Merle Haggard and write songs about guys going to death row. And I didn't go to Folsom Prison. And man, I listed all the, I was like, I'm not like Willie Nelson. I don't do Willie Nelson. They're outlaws. And I said, if it's bro country and that's what I'm labeled as, I said, and where I fucked up is I said, I haven't spent the night like sleeping on the street. And I didn't say like Johnny Cash's song, Sunday Morning Coming Down. That's what I meant. I just didn't tie it. Well, that dude took that article and said, Luke Bryan says outlaw country people are basically drug addicts that sleep in the street. And man, I pissed the way they manipulated that story, I lost that whole crowd right then.
Wow.
Broke my heart. And I think Waylon Jennings' daughter went real public with she was fucking mad at my ass. And dude, she went on there going, Luke, my dad never laid, and I never meant that. I just meant, Waylon was in there too. But we all know what all those guys are because we got to watch all the documentaries about those guys, and we got to be students of those guys.
Well, that's the problem with interviews, is first of all, they're trying to get you.
Well, your interviews are the beauty. Well, and no one's gotten popped more than you because they'll take our... Man, I hope we sit here and bullshit for 3 hours, but they'll take your 5 minutes.
Right. Out of context.
And now they'll AI you.
That's happened a lot. Yeah.
So what happened, man, that thing started growing. And, man, I had motorcycle gangs wanting to burn my house down.
Oh, my God.
When you get misrepresented in that type of deal, and then the subcategories of articles, then the article of the article of the article.
What year was this?
Man, I don't know. It was probably 2012 or 13.
So this was when social media was not as impactful.
It was becoming...
Was YouTube even around then?
Yes, and clickbait, the world of clickbait was getting rocking.
Right.
What I did is, man, I called Waylon Jennings' daughter and said, I said, ma'am, I just forgot to say like the Chris Christopherson song, Sunday Morning Coming Down. That's all I meant by that. And I think she accepted. I called, I text Willie. He sent me the best reply. He goes, it's okay to step on your dick, just don't stand on it. I called Jesse Waylon. I called Jesse Coulter, and she goes, Luke, what did you mean in the interview? And I told her, and she goes, Waylon stopped doing print interview, and it was, and then, but by then the narrative started, and since then, I can always tell that if that one little thing, I probably would have kept that whole base. And then oh my God, he wears tight jeans and he must homosexual on the side, as I'm posing with my all-American family.
I think it's probably a thing also. They think Hollywood has invaded country music, which is always a big threat because there's so much money in country music that they think these Hollywood executives that don't understand or appreciate real country are going to come in and make something inauthentic. So then they hear you saying that, get misrepresented, and then they take it as a part of all of that, right?
Joe, so my album came out. I worked on an album for 3 years. It's called Mind of a Country Boy, and I put it out like 1st of October. And I didn't want to put the damn album out because the reality is I'm not at the height. When every artist hits their peak, you know it. I mean, I sold out. I was selling out football stadiums first day. 3 or 4 years I did it. I know that's my peak, probably. I know it is. Fuck, I'm not going to even say probably. I'm a realist. Well, so we put the album out, and I said, you know what? No albums sell. Nothing sells anymore. So I knew there was going to be a negative take on the album. I knew something negative would come by me putting the album out based on it may not sell. And it sold what it would. It did what I thought it'd do. as me being the artist where I'm at in my life.
Especially in this world of streaming.
Right.
Nothing's buying anymore.
Nothing's buying. Well, dude, I did 40 hours of all the stuff.
What's happened is because of online advertising being the primary source of income for news, they have to do clickbait shit. They have to distort things. And then they have editors that don't give a shit about anything other than the bottom line. So you get a writer, even if the writer's a good person. I've had writers that I know have written about people that I know, and they told me that their editor came in and changed things. They told me their editor came in and took
editor's
positive
ass is
things
about
out.
to get canned.
Yeah, exactly.
Because his company just got bought by a big conglomerate.
Exactly.
That's
why artists should just stay away from that shit.
Well, and I knew it. What sucks, is, dude, you know it. You know when you're getting baited.
Yeah,
you can see it coming a mile away.
You have to film everything you do, every conversation you have with someone. You should film them all so that no one can take you out of context. And then if anything goes wrong, so that guy's full of shit. This is what I said.
I did,
and then I maybe even make a video.
I did.
And those people should be shamed. It's a terrible, evil, ugly thing you do. You crush people's perspective. You change how the world looks at people just for clickbait, and it could genuinely affect someone's life and career.
Dude, man, listen. You know the deal. I mean, I grew up in South Georgia, and we've raised our dang kids like colorblind. It's so awesome. I'm so proud of their colorblindness.
Isn't it funny that is a negative thing to say today? That people don't like that idea?
Did I just say something negative?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't think you should be colorblind. They think that's a lie.
See, I
you
thought
shouldn't think that way. That was what we were all working towards until about 2012. Have you ever seen like the numbers? I'm gonna send you this, Jamie, because this is what people need to understand. A lot of what we're all experiencing is manipulation, and a lot of this manipulation might not even be from our own country. A lot of this manipulation is what happens when you have foreign entities that are manipulating people. Oh, yeah, that's it. Thank you. Look at that. Jamie, you're the best. Yearly mentions of prejudice in popular U.S. news media outlets. Now, look at what happens. Look at this crazy spike. So you have everything from 1970 until you have like 1990. See, what's going on in 1990, between 80 and 90, you have cable. Okay, so now you have people that need more eyes on their shit. So you have Fox News. You have a lot of this. You have people that get a little bit more jazzed up. Look at transphobia. You never even heard what the fuck that was until 2010. Look how it just jumps up in 2020. In 1990, didn't exist. 1980 didn't exist. Islamophobia, same deal. Anti-Semitism. Scroll all the way up to the top, though, Jamie. So look at racism. Racism is essentially fairly steady until around 2012, and then it goes on this wild ramp straight up. The New York Times from 2010 to 2020, it goes up 712%. Los Angeles Times, 756%. It just skyrockets all the mention of racism. Why? Because no one wants racism. No one wants to be racist. Everyone's scared of being called racist, and all the race hustlers love to call people racist. So it becomes a commodity. So people start trading in racism. And this idea that you shouldn't be colorblind, and then you should recognize race, you should recognize color, and like, stop. We were on a good path to what Martin Luther King said, judging people based on the content of their character. We were on that path, and social media and manipulation fucked us. And hopefully we realize what happened now, and I think there'll be a downward trend, and people sort of like wake up. And I think that's one thing that is balancing out right now with the internet, is enough people realize they've been manipulated. So it's starting to like calm down. A lot of this woke shit starting to die off. And it's people are coming to their senses. Like everybody just woke up from a fever dream. But as far as your situation and dealing with the media, don't.
Oh, I know.
Just don't.
Yeah, but when you're so dang, you know the deal. You're
naive. You're a little bit naive because you're a nice guy, but it's because you're a good person. That's why you're naive. You assume other people are good people.
What's amazing is when I'm on American Idol, that desk, and I've been doing it for 9 damn years, and I have cried with everybody. when those kids come in, everybody walking through that door is a microcosm of America. And man, I've sat there and loved and learned. Man,
do you enjoy doing that? Like seeing new talent pop up?
Nothing is more amazing than watching a broken kid with that's been told they're not good, and they come from everywhere. It could be the craziest thing is the kids that were raised in the homes of doctors, that the doctor family can't wrap their head around my child wanting to go try this fucking music thing. What? Well, we're doctors. We're doctors. And man, when they branch out and the family gets behind them and then they go and follow their dreams, and man, it's really, it doesn't get old. I mean, listen, it's a fun chair to be in. It's a fun chair to be in because that door opens and it's a life that comes in and you don't know what the hell. You know, we have a note or two like, you know, just lost their father to cancer 3 months ago, you know, from a small town. But other than that, man, we don't know what they're going to do and how they're going to react. And it's pretty cool. I mean, you know, when I had just moved to Nashville when American Idol was just, 40 million viewers a week. And the tone in Nashville is, that's the cheap route to get famous. Because I came up through, you got to play 1,000 nightclubs, you got to go through, you got to meet the record labels, you got to do the radio, you got to go meet everybody at radio. So the whole town of Nashville was like, well, it's not totally fair that they get to just pop on TV and skip all the. But now, all that's gone, which is great.
Well, here's an example. Oliver Anthony.
Totally.
Oliver Anthony has one song he releases. It's the most. Pull up that song. Because this fucking song, this dude releases it. It's just a camera and him with his guitar.
When I heard it, I was like, holy shit, that's fucking amazing. And holy shit, that guy better have some songs to come behind it.
Yeah, well, he's a talented motherfucker.
He is.
A very, very bright man.
And it's what life should.
Working all day, overtime hours.
Listen to that.
Bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a
damn shame.
What the world's gotten.
Listen to that.
This dude was selling equipment. He'd never even done a concert. First concert he does is like 18,000 people at a state fair. And he's as genuine as you can
You've
get.
had him on here, correct?
I had him on here, and I actually gave him advice.
How did he do?
He did great because I gave him advice before I met him because he was in the middle of all this. And he goes, hey, man, can I talk to you? So we talked on the phone. I'm like, what's up? He's like, man, I'm getting all these offers from all these people. They want to buy this and buy that. And they want to give me $7 million if I do this and sign that. I said, stay independent. I go, you have talent. Everyone's saying I have to act now. I go, fuck those people. I go, you don't have to act now. That's famine thinking. I go, you're talented, man. Because I had heard a couple of his other songs as well. He's fucking talented, and he's genuine. And I go, you can't fake that. Just stay independent, man, because they're not going to offer you anything. Those people are just going to, the reason why they want to give you a lot of money is because they're going to make way more than they're going to give you. That's the only reason why they want to give you money. They want a piece of you before you become one of the biggest stars in the world. Yeah. And then they own a chunk of you forever because they gave you $7 million when you didn't have any money. I go, just bank on yourself, man.
Yeah, and guy, the beauty of Idol is and guys like this, there's so many avenues now. You can go the old-fashioned route. You can go the quick route. You can go the Idol route. You can go stream on, you can go video yourself on all your social platforms, and the right song can blow you up. But then you got to go do the real work.
You got to do the real
work. And that's what we tell the kids.
Other bullets in your chamber.
That's what we tell the kids on Idol now. I think when Idol was really, really, obviously, when Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood won, and even people after that, they went their ass to work. want to. And
it's an insane opportunity.
It's insane. Yeah. And you know, these kids on Idol now, they love seeing their social media platforms go up 1,000%, and it's worth it. And, you know, and there's going to be bumps in the road, and it's, you know, it's still, there's going to be a group of people saying, you know, American Idol may exploit these kids. But man, I'm in the back, I'm behind the scenes on everything, and man, we won't, you know, they won't. When we get a kid that we love, man, we sit around, we go to dinner, and we talk about that kid and love them. And these, I think, you know, these kids leave it going, man, that was a great experience for them. I hope so, but you know.
I'm sure they do. And it is an insane opportunity. If you want to be a professional musician and you want to make a career out of it, it's one of the most unbelievable moments.
You got to do your path.
Yeah.
You got my path was my path, and it was unique to mine. And because yours is different, that don't mean I need to hate you for it.
There's a lot of that shit with comedians today too.
Oh,
because a comedian will have one clip where he's doing some crowd work, or one clip of one bit that everybody loves, and then all of a sudden he's selling out, and everybody's like, that guy.
He only had one good joke.
Yeah, he's only been around for 3 years, but so what? Let him run with it. Let him run with it. You know, it's we're living in a new world. It's like the song. It is a new world.
Why wouldn't we all want someone else to win?
Right.
What is wrong? What's wrong with people winning? It's like you have figured out how to feed yourself with a guitar.
Yeah.
You've figured out how to tell jokes.
Yeah.
And make a living. And you know, all like, man, like I said, dude, I won't even post my damn deer I killed. Because I don't want to get online and be there with a glass of wine at 3 a.m. and start
reading
motherfucking
comments.
people. Like, dude, I want to kill them. And like I said, you get over it, but man, it pisses you off.
I don't read anything. I tell everybody, don't read anything. Don't read anything about you. Just don't. Don't read the good stuff. Don't read the bad stuff.
I do good with it. And I mean, hell, I'm sitting there, I'm a 48-year-old man. My shit's in the bank, but it still makes you mad.
It still makes you mad. It doesn't matter, even if you're undeniable. It doesn't matter. It's a human instinct to read negative things and get upset. Because humans always had to worry about threats. And if the threats were other tribes or predators or whatever,
you had to attack that threat. Yeah.
So we're mentally conditioned to look for threats.
What is it, fight or flight or something? Yeah.
Well, it's like if you have 100 people who love you but one that hates you, that one is the one you're going to think about. You're not going to think of all the people that they say you're awesome. You're going to think about that one that hates you. And then you have to think about the kind of people that post comments. Most of the people who post comments are miserable people. Not the positive comments, but the negative comments.
I started a thing, you know, and I know you got people in your world where, man, you know, there's assholes, and you'll huddle up and you'll spend an hour talking about how you can't believe how big an asshole that person is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, we're 15 minutes in on talking about this person being an asshole.
We wasted 15 minutes of our life.
We wasted 15 minutes on us trying to figure out why can't they stop being an asshole?
You basically wasted 1/100th of your day.
on somebody
that sucks. You only get 100 of those 15 minutes in a day, and you wasted one talking about a shithead. It's a mess. But it's a normal thing that people do. You just got to not do it. You got to realize that this is a new world.
I've gotten conscious where when I see other buddies doing it, I'm like, whoa.
Get out of there. Yeah.
Man.
I recognized it when I was on television before social media. There was a thing called, there was these Hollywood magazines like Variety and the Hollywood Reporter, and I would always call them the Devil's Rag. Because I would get to the set of the TV show and everybody was reading the Devil's Rag. They were all like, "Oh, I can't believe they're number 2. We should be right after Friends." Oh, and everybody was upset. And I was like, "You guys are." I'm on TV. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you people. I'm on television. I can't believe I'm on TV. You guys are upset that we're number 30 instead of number 2 or whatever the fuck it is. Can't we just appreciate the fact that this is back when there was only like 5 networks? Can't we appreciate the fact that we're one of the luckiest human beings that have ever lived? We're on a fucking television show.
Buddy.
And yet you're reading these magazines. And it's like, is it Thomas Jefferson who wrote that quote? Comparison is the thief of joy. But whoever was that? Was it Jefferson? I know we know who it is. We've read it before. But that quote is so accurate. Comparison. That's why billionaires. I know a dude is worth like $1.5 billion, and he thinks he's broke because he's friends with like Jeff Bezos.
I do not get into that. You cannot get into that world.
You can't win. You
can't
can't win because you're in a crazy fucking numbers race, and it doesn't mean anything. You're not even enjoying what you have.
So my wife, for her 40th birthday, man, I surprised her and I rented her. Never done anything. We rented like a 120-foot boat and took all our college friends down to St. Bart's for New Year's. Have you ever heard of this scene?
No.
Dude.
Is it crazy?
Joe. So first of all, I mean, this boat that we got is a 120-foot Westport. Beautiful. We get to St. Bart's. I didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Oh, you're in the yacht world. Okay. So you're entering into these worlds of 200-foot boats, 250-foot boats.
The oligarchs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've seen that before.
And it's in St. Bart's, and they all float there
I know what you're
for
talking about, yeah.
New Year's.
And it's all dick measuring contests.
Dude. And my captain of that little boat, which that boat looked like, our boat that we were on looked like their shuttle boats.
Right.
And my captain, I said, did you ever pilot one of those? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, I said, what were they doing on there? He goes, looking at the other boats, wondering. I said, that dude is on a fucking $1 billion yacht and pissed at the other $1 billion yacht.
Yeah, that's real. They're all in competition with each other, and they're all hating.
You know, and I'm entering in, you just got to get your little world, like my little world now.
Keep it tight.
My little Tennessee hunting world. I tell people all the time. They're like, come on down to my ranch. I'm like, man, I got my little deal.
Yeah, it's enough. Stay sane. Keep it tight.
What are they doing on that boat, Cap?
Isn't that nuts? Imagine being on a 250-foot yacht, looking at the dude on the 300-foot yacht, going, God damn it, I got to upgrade. I was talking to a dude who pilots yachts, and he was telling me that they always want to sell them. They always want to sell them and get another one. He goes, all these yachts are always almost for sale. I go, how come? He goes, because they always want another yacht. They always want a bigger yacht. It's a trap. It's a giant trap. Imagine having all that money, you're not even appreciating it because you're worried about making more. Remember when we were kids, if you said, like, what would you do if you had $1 million? Man, I'd never work again. I'd fucking just...
Well, you know, I remember dreaming. Did you lay in bed and just be like, I remember dreaming about trying to do it and how I was going to go.
How are you going to get rich?
How am I going to get, I wouldn't say rich. How am I going to be able to have my own bass pond?
Right.
Because I would have to call other people and get permission.
Right.
And that, dude, the anxiety of calling an old farmer.
Right.
Going, hey, Farmer Johnson, can I go fish your Bass Lake? I don't know, Luke. Not today. I'd be like, fuck. And so I remember doing that, and then when you start achieving it, man, I don't think I'm living in that world of like the other digging. I think you can for a minute.
Yeah.
I think you can for a little bit. But
it's a trap.
It is a trap.
And the problem is it's all numbers. It's like, you know how dudes are crazy with deer? Like, I want a 200-inch deer. 200-inch mule deer.
You can't do that.
I want a 400-inch elk. They get crazy with numbers. I talked to this dude who worked on a ranch, and they have big elk on this ranch, and he said sometimes the hunters are really happy with an elk, and then they'll put a tape to it and measure it, and it's 396, and they get bummed out because it's not 400. I'm like, those people are sick. You should never have them here again. You should ban them. They should never be allowed to be here again. That's a sickness. But that's what happens with these people with everything, man. I never had a dream of being wealthy. It was never a dream. It was never even in my imagination did I ever think I was going to be rich. I never even thought about it. When I started doing stand-up comedy, my dream was to be a professional because I always had jobs. My dream was to be able to pay my bills with comedy. I looked at all the dudes.
That was now my dream. Yeah, let me make sure I didn't steer you wrong on that. My dream was to do these things out of being driven, like when I moved to Nashville, I wrote on a chalkboard, write a #1 song, win a CMA award,
Oh, you had like a vision board.
I had a little vision board.
Nice.
But I didn't understand. I didn't really comprehend the money after that because I didn't know it. And I didn't know, like people are like, I'm a big Georgia Bulldog fan. And they're like, did you go to Georgia? And I'm like, buddy, me going to the University of Georgia when I was 18 years old, I mean, my dad barely got the money for me to go to the community college 12 minutes down the road. So going to Georgia
wasn't even
I didn't even put it in there.
Right.
So but go ahead.
But I'm just saying that when I see people that's all they care about is the money, and then they're always thinking about the richness and the money, I just think it's a trap. And the problem is, if you're always comparing yourself to other people, you're not going to enjoy what you have. You're not going to enjoy this temporary experience of life.
Right.
Because
it is temporary.
It's so quick. I'm 57 years old. How the fuck did that happen? All of a sudden, you just keep getting older. And then, one day you're dead. And I bet on your deathbed, you're like, how did it happen so quick? How did it happen so quick? What are you doing with your time? And are you enjoying it? And I think you need things outside of what you do that you love. And like for you and I think it's hunting and the outdoors. Because I think it balances you. I think there's something very spiritual about it. I think there's something just being in the woods it's a very spiritual experience, like a real spiritual experience. Like I think it's like a vitamin that you don't know you need until you get it. And when you get it, you feel better. When I'm out there, I feel better. I just feel better. I'm like, the air's cleaner. I feel more in touch with being alive. It just feels better. And I think I'm not thinking about anything else. If I'm elk hunting, I'm not thinking about jokes, and I'm not thinking about podcast guests. I'm not thinking about jack shit. I'm just thinking about what I'm doing. That's it. It's very difficult to do, and you have to really focus, and you're thinking about it, and you're always trying to improve. And that alone is good for your brain. It's good for your life.
I lost my brother and my sister, and my sister's husband passed away. And man, I lost my brother at 26, my sister at 39, and her husband died at 45. And man, it is present. The daily appreciation of this deal is visually present.
Isn't that crazy about people, though? It's like you almost need to lose something to be able to appreciate what you have.
Well, and I tell people, man, you meet... I tell people, man, really be careful, because if you make it to 80, you're gonna get popped with something. I don't think you can get through this thing.
Like some kind of a disease or something?
No, I don't. Well, I'm saying you're gonna lose something.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose something dear.
Oh, yeah.
You're not gonna get through A to Z without really a hard loss.
No, it's just a part of life.
But some people, man, they're just
delusional. They're delusional, and then a lot of people are medicated too, so that they don't even know what the fuck is going on while they're living this life. They're living this life under the influence of the pharmaceutical drug companies, and they're just floating through life in a haze, and they don't even know what's happening while it's happening. And then they get to the end, and then what'd you do? What'd you do? Did you help people? Did you make people feel better? Did you inspire people? Did you enrich people's lives? What'd you do? And then you have to realize, like, God damn, I wasted a lot of time reading comments.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
Wasted a lot of time getting mad at assholes.
Well, I don't do it bad, though. That's what's funny. I don't do it bad.
Everybody says that. Everybody says they don't look at their phone. They go, let me see your screen time.
Yeah.
Like 6 hours.
6 hours.
Jesus, bitch. What the fuck are you doing?
Oh, Lord. Yeah, man. I mean...
Well, this is a new world, too, in terms of that. I keep saying this is a new world, but this really is a new element to our lives, is this social media element. And I think there's not a lot of stuff that's written on it where people understand.
Yeah,
how
we're
to
learning,
manage it.
and
yeah, we're learning in real time.
Yeah, we're the lab rats.
We really are, especially our kids. Our kids really are the lab rats. The kids really are, and not just that. Also, access to violence. They see so much violence.
Dude,
they see so much online that's horrible.
I think about this all the time. I would go stay with a buddy at his house, and he'd go, "Man, I rented Faces of Death."
Remember those?
I wouldn't watch them. I'd be like, "Man, my parents told me not to watch that." He'd go, "What? You don't want to watch this guy get electrocuted?" And I'm like, "Fuck no, I don't want to watch a dude get electrocuted." Dude, we're watching people. It's
Yeah, if you're on Instagram, you're seeing people dying
every
day. Every day, I have friends.
I
that send me
mean,
horrible
legs
shit.
breaking.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember Joe Theismann. When Joe Theismann broke his leg, dude, it like shut the country down.
Yeah. I know, now that's
And
nothing.
now it's like,
That's nothing. I watched a dude on a diving board, and his foot fell in a crack in the diving board had an opening in it, and he went forward, and his knee stayed in the same place, and it just snapped his leg the wrong way, and he's screaming, hanging from a broken leg. That's just one thing I saw today.
I thought you don't do that.
I watch things on Instagram. I just don't read comments. But me and Tom Segura, we send each other the most horrible shit every day. It's ridiculous. But some days he sends me things, I don't even look at them. I'm like, not today.
I could see it coming, but I do love the funny, comical aspect of it that gets me and a cup of coffee dying laughing at some person being a goofball.
Or memes.
Oh,
some memes.
They
memes
got
are some
us,
of the best.
though. They got us.
Yeah, memes are some of the best comedy out there. And it's just random people create these funny things. There's a lot of funny people out there.
What's amazing is we've gotten to where we can see the meme happen and predict the meme, and the meme's on your phone the next day. And you're like,
within hours.
Oh, yeah.
They're so quick. And memes are weird because a lot of times you don't even know who made it. You're sharing it. Somebody sends it to you. You send it to other people. Like, who made that? Who's the wizard that figured this out? It's a fucking hilarious
stuff. It's like a meme factory.
Well, it's like jokes. You remember jokes like, two guys walking to a bar? Those jokes? Who fucking wrote those? We don't know, but some of them were bangers.
And they spread.
They just spread across the whole country. But somebody had to be the guy that sat down and tells the story. Two guys walking to a bar. And then, then it's everywhere.
Well, I mean, there's a million places we can go, but it's, you look at, the damn children, my kids, we're yelling at them every day, get up, get off the phone, get outside. And they do a good job, but, man, I think it's a part of their deal.
They're being influenced by things far beyond our control and way different than anything that any other generation has ever experienced before.
Like my son, he's a 16-year-old quarterback. And, man, he watches all these other quarterbacks on hell, there are 14 recruiting download sites from that, and my son's like, that dude right there is the greatest quarterback in the country. I said, well, how old is he, Bo? He's 15, Dad. I'm like, Bo, we don't know what that little shit's going to be. What are you talking about? He goes, well, Dad, he's a 5-star and he's 15. I'm like, Bo, your dad, when I moved to Nashville, I was a 1-star country singer. If I'd had a rating next to me and probability of me making it, I wouldn't. It would have been a 1-star. I worked myself into hopefully a 3-star,
right.
3-star recruit. And he's looking at me like I'm crazy. And so one of those kids, he played him. Now, my son's not starting. He's backup quarterback to a great quarterback. And we played him and we beat him. We get down. He gets home after the game. I said, what'd you think about your little savior there? He goes, he's still the greatest quarterback of all time. I said, Bo, he lost the fucking game. He's 15. son, let's let life happen before we anoint.
Yeah. Just be inspired. Be inspired by other success, but don't take it too seriously. And also recognize that kid might start getting laid and throw it all away.
Exactly. He don't know what's gonna.
Yeah, you're 15. You don't know what the fuck's coming your way.
Yeah, you don't know one. Yeah.
Yeah, you run into some Russian chick in your English class.
Yeah, some new Russian exchange student that needs an English tutor.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you don't have any sperm left in your body, and you're dehydrated all day long.
You're getting electrolytes on the sideline, and
you're not doing any off-season running or lifting. You're busy. Also, people they lose the focus, and sometimes they get pushed too hard by their parents. There's a little bit of that too. The kids rebel; they don't want to do it anymore. Anything can happen, but that's what's fascinating about life is that it's all open.
Your daughters are how old now?
28, 16, and 14.
Yeah, the 16 and 14, man.
The 16 and 14 are going through a totally different experience. The TikTok, all girls. The TikTok
but girls
world.
are way. I mean,
they're way more influenced in a negative way.
My heart aches for girls in this.
Well, there's some alarming statistics about the growth of social media from like 2009, where you see girls with self-harm, all sorts of psychological conditions, online bullying, because girls are fucking vicious to each other online. Boys will run into each other and punch each other in the face.
Yeah.
But girls will attack each other's character, and they're reputation destroyers. And they love to like make up stories about girls and be mean about girls and talk shit about the way girls look and the way girls dress and the guys girls are dating, and they do it to each other. And it's unfortunate, but that's what gossip used to be. Gossip used to just be talking, though. It's like a normal thing where girls get around and talk. But now they talk online. And when they talk online, then other people read it like, oh, and you're ruining people's lives. And you're ruining little girls' lives. And suicide is off the charts, and self-harm is off the charts, and mostly young girls are getting affected by it.
When I have my 14-year-old go, Dad, I'm anxious about this. I'm like, I didn't know the word anxious.
Right.
I didn't know the word anxious until I was 35 years old. Right?
Right. It wasn't thought when we were kids in high school.
It wasn't processed as anxiety. It was processed as like
life.
Yeah,
I'm getting nervous.
Yeah,
sometimes,
yeah. I got a big test. My stomach hurts. I gotta go take a shit.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Now it's the thing they think about all the time, and the problem with that is Abigail Schreier wrote a book about this. You focus on your problems oftentimes become bigger. When you think about things like anxiety, guess what? It makes you more anxious. It doesn't help it. It actually has the opposite effect. Yeah, it's a weird world, but they're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. We're just going to have to adjust and figure it out on the fly. It's just this adjustment is bigger than any adjustment that any generation's ever had to make before. But it's also like, look at things like Oliver Anthony. Good comes out of it too.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll, Jesus.
Love that dude.
Best thing ever.
He's one of my favorite human beings ever.
Best thing.
He's such a fucking sweetheart.
Best thing ever.
When that guy sang that song, Save Me, and everybody was like, what is going on? This fucking ex-con with tattoos on his face with a voice like an angel.
Best thing ever.
Incredible. But this is all possible today too. So you got good and you got bad. It's just you got to navigate the waters. You got to know where the rocks are. Steer that boat, young sailor.
And what amazes me is man, what breaks my heart is when people think they're all alone in their thing that's hanging up their life.
Right.
When you meet somebody and it's all scaled way differently, like when you meet, I've had people, when you grow up in a country music band and you're on the bus for hours with buddies and everybody they got their own life, and then, man, you find out, I had one band member almost kill himself over something that if he'd have just had somebody say, man, I have that too.
Right.
And he would have not felt alone.
Right.
And people have got to quit like thinking that they're the only ones that have
gone through some shit.
gone through this thing.
Yeah, well, that's why you need people that you love.
Yeah.
That's why you need friends.
See, my household was a man. We sat at the dinner table, and dude, it came out. I'm talking
Well, that's
about.
good.
And then, but my wife's household was, man, they,
Bottled it
they
up.
bottled it up, and it all worked. And we don't know who came out better, but me and my wife, we work on like, we work on like, I mean, like my wife never saw her mama like in the shower, like just showering, like walk through the house naked. I mean, hell, we had one bathroom. It was like we were a bunch of damn naked idiots running around trying to get to the bathroom. And my wife's like, yeah, my mama did not shower with the door open. And I'm like, really? She's like, I'm like, you're kidding me. Never once. I'm like, just
That's kind of crazy.
everybody's.
Well, when you have daughters, there's a certain amount of time where you
Yeah,
can't be
yeah.
naked in front of them
Yeah.
anymore. Once they
Oh,
hit
dude,
like 4 or 5 years old, you're like, okay, that's a wrap.
Dude, my 16-year-old. So my beard. We're living in our guest house right now because we're doing some work to our main house. Our main house had stuff that just kept happening. We were like, we're moving out, and when we move back in, have it all fixed. So we got a 22-year-old, a 16-year-old living in the same house. Well, my wife stored all of my bathroom stuff. It's in a box somewhere, all my shaving gear. I run into my son's bathroom, my 16-year-old, and I grabbed his beard trimmer. I grabbed this fucking trimmer sitting there, and I shaved my beard, and I'm all up under my nose. And
You smell ball hair?
no, I get in my truck, and I'm driving down the road. My son gets home from school crying, laughing. What? Dad, you shaved your beard with my ball trimmers. And I was like, you little shit. First of all, I'm like, what in the hell? 16-year-old manscaping? What the fuck's going on?
It's a new world.
I know. I'm like, dude, I never imagined you had. I don't even think he's, whatever. These damn, it's so fun, man. These kids, my dad, my, God, it's so amazing, dude. We were elk hunting, man, and my 14-year-old, we got this really cool. When we go elk hunt, we got to wade across a river to get to our elk spot. And the first couple of years, man, we didn't. We just stripped down to our underwear, and hung our boots and all our gear, and walked underwear. And dude, it was kind of like we're really men,
Right.
And so Tate and Bo, the first time I would put him on my shoulders and walk him. Well, then after 2 years, we were like, dude, let's go by and get like 8 pairs of waders and set them on the bank, and we'll leave the waders. And everybody's like, that's a damn good idea. I'm like, yeah. I mean, how many years did it take y'all to understand, go get some damn waders? So Tate, for the last 3 years, I've toted him across the river. And man, I looked at him the last day of the hunt. And this was Tate's year to try to get an elk. And he actually, Dad, I kind of messed up the elk hunt. I moved and spooked the elk, which was great because he realized that just because you're Luke Bryan's son, you don't get the damn elk. But
Right.
I said, hey, I said, I want to tote you across the river. I said, you're growing, and this will probably be the last year. So I towed him across the river, and then on the way back, he goes, hey, Dad, I want to wade it by myself. And man, you don't realize how much your kids really are watching you. But we're sitting on the bank, and he's watching me, and I set my bow down. And he takes his bow and sits it down, and he watches everything I do, and it was the cutest thing ever. I haven't even told my wife. So every year I take my boots and I tie them in a knot, and I hang them and throw them over because we're toting gear, and I throw
Right.
my boots over my shoulders so they don't get wet. And man, I looked at him, and he's sitting there tying his little string. He stands up and throws in boots, and he just, man, watching your kids just absorb it is just, it's pretty damn special.
Sounds like you're having a beautiful life, my friend.
Well, it's
It really does.
kids make it.
It really does. It really does. Luke, thank you very much, man. This was a lot of fun.
I hope we.
I
how
really
long
enjoyed
was
it.
that?
More than 3 hours.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's 4:30.
3 hours.
There
dude.
it is. Mind of a Country Boy. Listen or download now. Look at you handsome bastard.
Well,
Fucking tight jeans. Look at you.
in tight jeans. Everybody hates me.
They don't hate you, man. Just don't read the ones that do.
Oh shit!
Appreciate you, brother.
Hey,
Thank you very
love
much.
You. Hey,
Love you too. Love you
Thank
too. Bye, everybody.